This is John Force, 16-time Funny Car champion.
Hey guys, it's Justin Ashley, driver of the Phillips Connect Toyota Top Fuel Dragster.
Hi, I'm Robert Knight, 3-time Funny Car champion.
I'm Kyle Koretsky, driver of the Lucas Oil Chevy Camaro.
I'm Dallas Glenn, driver of the Radford Systems Pro Stock Camaro.
And you're watching Inside the NHRA.
And you're tuned in to Inside the NHRA.
You're watching Inside the NHRA.
I tell you what, this is Anton Brown, I'm NHRA Top Fuel World Champion, and stay tuned in to Inside the NHRA.
If you want to be entertained, this is the show, and Darren is the guy to do it.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the special edition of Inside the NHRA, streaming live on American Hot Rod Entertainment, Dave W, and Competition Plus YouTube and Facebook channels. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., and joining me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, the man to my right, this way, actually, Dave W. How's it going, Dave?
Oh, it's going great. Ready to break this down. The last race of the Western Swing, the last Western Swing for at least with this setup of tracks. Maybe we'll have one in the future if that new Denver track comes to fruition, or maybe moving Pomona up there. You never know. But for now, 3 in a row, all finished up, and quite a day of racing here at Sonoma, I think.
Yes, sir. The final round of the 2023 NHRA Western Swing here at iconic Sonoma Raceway. We are breaking down all the highlights and going in depth from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. And joining us, as always, ladies and gentlemen, my brother from another mother, D. Bland, Dujane Bland. How's it going, Dujane?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Been one hell of a weekend. Looking forward to talking about this last race of the Western Swing.
It was a long weekend. I'll tell you what, starting on Friday from qualifying to eliminations. And let's start it off. We already know, ladies and gentlemen, we witnessed history here today from Sonoma Raceway. Gage Herrera becomes the 9th driver in NHRA history to sweep the Western Swing. Congratulations to Gage Herrera, Andrew Hines, and the whole Vance and Hines team on their great performance here this weekend. Not only did they sweep the Western Swing, but they pretty much took it all. They won Denver, they won Seattle, they won Sonoma, they won the Pro Stop Motorcycle All-Star Call-Out yesterday. Like I said, qualified number 1. Dave, they pretty much took it all here this weekend.
Oh, they did. And they've been pretty much taking it all, the entire Western Swing, except for Gage missing and not being in the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge in Denver. Won Denver, won Seattle, won here, won the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge in Seattle, won the mission or the All-Star Call-Out here, like you had mentioned. So 12 round wins in a row. If you can count the other ones in there, we've got 17 round wins in a row. I mean, the kids just, we kind of thought maybe stumbled a little bit at Bristol, and they're right back on top, right where they left off.
Dujane Bland, Gage Herrera, 9th driver in NHRA history to sweep the Western Swing. The last guy to do it was a man who was in the final round here today, AB and Sean Brown. He was the last guy to do it in 2009. How cool is it to see 14 years later, Gage Herrera sweep the Western Swing?
Yeah, it's pretty dope. The way that they've been out here kind of running all over the competition, it's pretty dope. And I like the fact that the performance is still there. The knee-jerk reaction by the NHRA adding weight. Who cares about the weight when people work hard and go to work and look to find that horsepower? They're going to find it. And when they're working hard, they're going to outrun the competition. So, you can add all the weight you want. Stop punishing people for doing hard work. And they put in the work, and here we are.
Here we are. 6 wins for Gage Herrera here in 2023 and 7 final rounds in 8 races. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to do the percentages, but I'm going to just say that is straight dominating fashion from Gage Herrera and the whole Vance and Hines team.
I'll do the math for you. Let's put it in perspective. All right, so the NHRA decided after qualifying on Friday that they would give Gage his medal and his little welcome to the countdown check or trophy or whatever they're giving out this year for it. I don't know why they waited so long because he clinched that a while ago. Gage Herrera, not only let's put it this way, he has clinched first into points. They only got Indy left, all right? And to put it in perspective, Gage Herrera's lead over Hector Arana Jr. in second place is 359 points. That's more than the entire Top Fuel top 10 gap and Funny Car top 10 gap. And that's first to second. So, yeah, how good is he of a season has he had? And that's only in, what'd you say, 8 races? That tells you right there. Putting them together, I mean, this is a season of domination in the motorcycle category like we've not seen in a long time. And, props to that whole team and just congratulations to the team. Makes you wonder what could have been in years past, or what are they doing on that bike that, how much of it is the bike and how much of it is just how awesome a rider Gage is,
Mm-hmm. Definitely, for sure. We're going to break down all the highlights in Pro Stop Motorcycle in just a second. That will be our first segment here on Inside the NHRA. But before we do that, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in to this special edition of Inside the NHRA. Darren Williams Jr., along with Dave W. and Dujane Blend. We have Mike Dennis coming on in just a little bit. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to this guy right here, Scott Purley. He says, "Hey, everyone. Scott Purley has been donating to the American Hot Rod Entertainment YouTube channel. I want to give you a big thanks. Appreciate all the support, man. Thank you, Scott Purley. And also, thank you to another guy, Scott, for all the support on American Hot Rod Entertainment, Scott Malpez. He's been supporting the channel heavy. So I want to give a shout out to those two guys right there." So, got the intro out of the way. You guys ready to kick off this show?
Yes, sir.
Let's kick it off with Pro Stock Motorcycle, the scooters. And like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, a dominating performance from Gage Herrera here from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. Qualified number 1, low ET, pretty much in the first round. Kind of fell off a little bit in the second round, was skating around in the center line in the semifinals, but capped it off in the final round. Gets the win, 6th win of the year for Gage Herrera in 7 final rounds in 8 races. That is straight dominating fashion. And so, Dave, I asked you this over text before the show started. I believe the record, Matt Hines, this guy right here, right behind me, 10 wins, 1988. Is that record in jeopardy for Matt Hines?
Yeah, I would say so. 1998. Yeah, I think that, we still got the whole countdown to go. We still haven't even gotten to Indy yet. I'm sure Indy's probably going to be I wouldn't say a foregone conclusion, but Vance and Hines' team always did well there. We're going into the fall, the countdown, the better weather. Will the weight make a difference? Will they add more weight to the team? Kind of makes you wonder. If they are kind of, I wouldn't say sandbagging, but maybe not showing their full hand yet before the countdown even. Qualifying was close. They were only 1,000th ahead of Matt Smith for the pole, but with the streak that they're on right now and how well Gage is riding, I don't see why at this point somebody's got to come up and take it.
For sure. And let's now take a look at the highlights now in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Like I mentioned, Gage Herrera was low ET in the first round, 672 with the 9 at 199 miles per hour to take down Ryan Ayler. If I remember correctly, that was second quick of the event because he qualified with a 672 with an 8. Matt Smith was qualified second with a 672.9. So he basically tied Matt Smith's second qualified run. And then the second round, he took on Mark Ingerson. Like I said, kind of fell off just a little bit. A 683 with a 6 at 196 took down Mark Ingerson's 689 with a 5 at 196. Mark Ingerson turned on the red light, and Gage Herrera moved into the semifinals. On the other side of the ladder, because we're going to pick this up from the semifinals, Matt Smith, he won his first round matchup, 679 with a 5 at 199 to take down Lance Bonham. And then the second round is the great matchup between Matt Smith and Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson, he struggled Matt Smith struggled as well, 0-10 reaction time, but 7:16 at 194. So let's now pick this up in the semifinals. It's Gage Herrera taking on Karen Stouffer. How about Karen Stouffer in just her second race back after announcing her retirement from full-time racing? And Gage Herrera bounces back. Like I said, fell off in the second round, but bounces back right here. 679 with the 3 at 195 to Karen Stouffer's 692 with the 6 at 191. Gage Herrera is moving into another final round. And then the other side of the ladder, it's Matt Smith taking on Gage Herrera's teammate, Eddie Krawick. And Matt Smith, he's going to get it right here. Spoils an all Vance and Hines final as Matt Smith sails into the final round. 681.9 at 198 to Eddie Krawick's 686.0 at 199. So it's the matchup that we've all been wanting to see. It's Matt Smith on a Suzuki taking on Gage Herrera. Western Swing sweep on the line. Let's take a look at that final round right now.
Jason, what do you got? Yeah, they're still working on it down there. This lane. There you go. You got it. Oh, that was Gage. This lane has had a couple of these this weekend.
They are shaking their head. They've reset it. It's not going to fire. Matt Smith's climbing off.
The Vance and Hines guys waited and waited and waited until they were told, we got to go. Right now, I guarantee you, he's hoping Gage goes like 652, just anything. Gage Herrera is going to sweep the swing. The first time ever the motorcycles have run all 3 races on the Western Swing. And since this was the last year of Bandimere Speedway and the Mile High Nationals, he's going to be the only guy to ever do it, at least for now. 677, 198 miles an hour. Gage Herrera wins again and sweeps the swing, including taking home the first ever Pro Stock Bike call-out. Gage Herrera, crazy. 6th win of the year in 7 final rounds. And that Vance and Hines train just keeps on moving on.
Gage, there's a lot that you're about to acquire right here. First, that is that broom for the sweep, the Wally, your 6th of the season. You get that medal. There's going to be a winner's hat. And, oh, one more thing. There is a chalice that you're going to be drinking wine out of here shortly. And, Gage, we talked to Andrew just prior to your run just about what we've seen about you this season. Well, you've done something that even Andrew Hines hasn't done, and that is sweep the swing. When you think of these accomplishments, how has Andrew's belief in you fostered your growth?
I still can't put into words. I'm still a kid at all when, from the day he called me to join the Vance Hines team, and to be able to do this and sweep the swing for the first time and for the whole Vance Hines Mission Suzuki team and for Andrew and, all the hard work he puts in and all the guys at the shop. I mean, it's incredible. And I hate that we got it that way. I really wanted to race Matt, and he had a little issue on the starting line, and I waited as long as I could. But at the end of the day, we got the win, and I'm so excited. I'm out of words. It's time to celebrate.
Joining us now is my man, Mike Dennis. He was on the property at Sonoma Raceway all this weekend. Mike, I got to ask you, what was it like seeing Gage Herrera sweep the Western Swing here this weekend?
I mean, for the bikes to be doing it for the first time, we're actually running the Western Swing, and for him to do it on his first attempt, or anyone to do it on their first attempt, was certainly impressive. I wouldn't call it mind-boggling, and dare I say, it wasn't necessarily unexpected to come from him. I mean, the bike's been so dominant this year. I mean, didn't come as a surprise. I mean, the best chance anyone had was on the mountain against him.
Right.
For sure. And so I asked Dave this at the beginning of the show, like this guy behind me right here on the poster. I can't get to him. Right. Where is he at? Right there. That guy, Matt Hines. How many races left in the Pro Stock motorcycle season, Dave? Is it 7?
They run the whole countdown, don't they?
Yeah, run the whole countdown, plus Indy.
Seven,
Are they going up to Peak or Brainerd?
No, just Indy's next. That's all they got. They got one more.
Indy's next. Okay, so 7 races left for the Pro Stock motorcycle class. The record is 10, Matt Hines, 1998. I asked Dave this, is the record in jeopardy? Do you think Gage Herrera can eclipse that before the season is up?
No, I don't think he does it.
Oh, you don't think? Wow.
Hot take.
Who beats him? I mean, Hector doesn't necessarily ride in a pig, and Matt Smith's bike, I mean, who knows if it fires today? I'm pretty sure Matt could have ran right with him. I don't.
Yeah, but you said the last show Hector likes to collapse under pressure.
He does. He does. He does. I mean, but he's good for at least one. At least one. I did 10. So I mean, it's almost like you're basically saying winning the next 4 out of 7 they got left, 4 out of 6.
So basically, to tie, he has to win 4 more. To break the record, he has to win 5 more. So 5 out of the next 7.
5 out of 7. Yep.
Yeah, 5 out of 7.
It means tying, he can only lose 2 more.
I can see him tying. I don't see him breaking it.
Gotcha.
He can tie, but I don't see him breaking it.
I got you. Yeah. Well, Dave, it's that time of the show. Give it out, man. We already know who it is.
Oh, we certainly do. I mean, it's without a doubt. Mopar High Performer of the Race. We'll call it the Mission High Performer of the Race here, since he's the Mission Foods Vance and Hines Suzuki Hayabusa, Gage Herrera.
How about that? Gage Herrera is our high performer of the race from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals from Sonoma Raceway. Congratulations to Gage Herrera, Vance and Hines, that whole Vance and Hines team. 6th win of the season for Gage Herrera in 7 final rounds this season in 8 races. Dominating fashion from Gage Herrera here in 2023. So we got to talk about his opponent in the final round. Mr. PF Flyer says Smith said it might be the cam sensor. Then he said he might have to change vendors. So Dijon, I got to ask, what you think about that? For the second consecutive race, Matt Smith could not get the bike to bark. First, last weekend in Seattle, and it happened here in the final round with the Western Swing sweep on the line. Man, Matt Smith, two weekends in a row, can't get the bike started.
You know, it's weird to me. It's like, okay, were you not able to fire the bike before you brought it out? You know what I mean? Like, and with things being so close, like, I understand giving people a shot, but man, you put me out the first time in a final round, I'm gonna make sure that I don't have that same part on my bike in the final round to where it's gonna cost me an opportunity to at least have a shot to win. I know people are like they felt bad for Matt, but I don't. Like, I don't know whether the bike was able to fire or not, but I mean, you can't have these type of little mistakes happen. I mean, it's $100 part, and if it's $100 part and it fails you the first time, it's got to go. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later. Don't bring it back up here to, have it fail on you at the most inopportune time now. So it's really unfortunate because I feel like Matt Smith is starting to make some gains on this bike, but can't have these little $100 parts making you look bad on the starting line and not even have a shot to even try to unseat Gage Herrera.
Yeah, but what if it's a Denso branded cam sensor? You don't got no choice.
I'd be in somebody's office saying a lot of expletives. That's exactly what I would be doing.
What was remember the 2017 battle between Brittany and Steve, and remember in that final qualifying session? Remember something fell off in the final qualifying session with Steve-O, and he called out the part supplier in the interview. You guys remember that?
I don't remember that, but that looks like something to dig up. That sounds pretty interesting.
Alan was like, luckily it didn't happen in the first round. It happened in the final qualifying session. Mike, I got to ask you, do you think we were robbed? I'm not saying Matt Smith would have beat Gage Herrera in the final round, but do you think we were robbed of pretty much a possibility of that? Because we know, the things that Matt Smith could play on the starting line. He is the son of Tricky Ricky Smith. And we saw what he did to Hector Ronner Jr. in the first round of the Mission Foods Challenge a couple weeks ago in Denver. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was a race that everyone's been looking forward to seeing, especially in the final round. I was in the tower. I was looking forward to seeing it. And to have it go down like that with the bike not starting, it was certainly disappointing. We were robbed, yeah, but it was a mechanical failure. It sucks. I mean, 'cause that's what we've been waiting on. I mean, I was licking my chops. I really wanted to see that race. It was probably of the final rounds in the professional categories, that was the race I was most interested in.
Yeah, same here. Like I said, I really want to see what games Matt Smith probably would have tried to play to get a little advantage on Hector Ronner Jr. in the final round. But I actually asked Gage in Denver when they raced in the final round of the Mission Foods Challenge, did he think that Matt Smith would have played any games on the starting line? He's like, Matt knows he can't rattle me. I come from a grudge background. I've seen everything under the sun. It wasn't going to matter. Whatever he tried, I'm ready for it. So I don't think it would have mattered in the end. let's see how it all shaped up in Pro Stock Motorcycle at the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. And I want to give a shout out to Karen Stouffer. Second race back. Like I mentioned, she announced her retirement from full-time racing last year, made a return to Seattle last weekend, took down Chris Bostic in round number 1, and then Freddie Camarena in the second round. Shout out to Karen Stouffer. Qualified 5th, making it to the semifinals. Dave, anybody else you want to shout out here on this ladder?
Yeah, how about Freddie Camarena? You just talked about him making it to the second round, taking out Hector Arana Jr. first round. Freddie has been a long-time competitor. He hasn't been on a bike in a little while, I don't think. It was definitely a name from the past to see him pop up. Alan mentioned that it was his home race, so he came out, and good to see him out there. Good to see some new names going rounds here in the second round. I think somebody had mentioned in the comments as well, Chase Van Zandt having an issue with starting. Angie Smith running top speed of the meet first round on her solo run. Gianna Evaristo had a good, solid bike in qualifying, but Steve Johnson just really stepped up first round. Lance Bonham, Kelly Klontz, they all had solid weekends here to wrap up the swing. It was just, you know what, just to shout out to the entire Pro Stock motorcycle field for having a full field, the only one in the pro classes here this weekend.
For sure. And Dujane Bland, pretty much a weekend to forget for Hector Arana Jr. Just troubles in qualifying, lost in first round, just a weekend to forget.
Yeah. This is stuff you can't have happen. And I know Mike has talked about it, but this is stuff you can't have happen as tough as this race is going to be, especially with Gage just dominating the way that he is. You need to try to keep pace as best you can. I mean, I understand all the resetting and all that crap, but bottom line is you got to still try to keep pace. And hopefully this doesn't happen again. Obviously, Indy is the next race for them, but he can't have any more hiccups because basically, Herrera is basically trying to shut the door. And if he does this 2 races in the countdown, you might as well just shut the door and lock it up because it'll be over.
Let me guys ask you this question. I know it's still a long way to go. There is a countdown out there, so we have to throw that into there. There's a countdown, and there is 1.5 points at the World Finals at Pomona. And barring a full-on collapse from Gage Herrera and the whole Vance and Hines team, I mean, can anybody stop him? Is there anybody out there that could definitely, realistically stop him in the final 6 races of the countdown? You know, like I said, barring a full-on collapse, there is a countdown. There is 1.5 points. Is there anybody realistically out there that can stop him?
I really do think Hector has an opportunity. I also think Matt Smith has an opportunity, but in my mind, I think we're looking at a boat race, and they're going to be back there like little specks in the dust. I really don't. I just don't see it right now. He's too dominant. The kid's focused. They've got everything. Andrew, and those guys got everything working for them. They got both bikes that are flying right now. Like you said, barring a collapse, all I see, unless they're going to step it up big time come Indy and make us think different, it's going to be a boat race.
Let's go you, Dave, first, and then I want to get Mike's thoughts on that after that.
What was the question?
Can anybody realistically stop Gage Herrera in the final 6 races?
Realistically, no. Maybe if you have him and Eddie switch bikes, there's a chance. It even the field out a little bit, maybe. Then they'll tell you if it's the bike or the rider. But, we still got one more Mission Foods Challenge left to do at Indy. So he's already clinched number 1. So he's got 10 Mission Food points. So he's going in with a 30-point lead into the countdown. So he's already got over a round lead going into this. And like we talked about earlier at the start of the show, when I mentioned his gap from first to second is more than the entire top 10 gap in the Nitro classes. That tells you, Hector put a good season together. Eddie's put a good season together. Matt Smith, Eddie Krawick. So he's 359 behind. Hector's behind Gage. Eddie Krawick, by going an additional couple of rounds, is 2 points behind Hector. Had Matt Smith been able to win the race, he would have been about 3 points ahead of Hector. So Hector, Eddie, and Matt have all had pretty much identical seasons. They're about tied in points, but they're all still over 360 behind Gage, and that's how he's doing. So, no, I mean, you got Gage, and you got the best of the rest, and you got the next cluster of Angie Smith, Steve Johnson, Chase Van Zandt, and then you got everybody else. And, you know, the countdown's going to have 12 bikes in it because there are a couple of riders that have gone to all the events that are going to be in it. But once that starts, nobody's just going to magically turn on the power and be able to go out there and take it away from them. I mean, really, that's what realistically somebody's going to have to set up and do it. And if you look at the points clusters, that's basically like putting people's seasons together. Nobody's close.
What about you, Mike Dennis?
So basically, can anyone stop him? Or basically, he's going to win the championship this year. He's going to probably win the championship this year. I'm going to say he's going to win the championship this year. Can someone get close? Matt. I would say Matt. I know Matt didn't start off the season as well as he would have liked, but it seems like his performance is getting better. I know, Dad, you said someone would have to step up in the countdown. I think Matt would be that guy. I don't see it being a boat race. I mean, I could see him coming into Pomona with a 60-point lead, you know, maybe 80. But I don't see it being a boat race. I think Matt will keep him honest, honestly. I think Matt will keep him honest. Hector will have the bike, but unfortunately, yeah, he'll have the bike, but yeah.
Like I'm just saying, you know, like I said, barring a full-on collapse. Like you said, if they go to Pomona, say the lead is 59 points, right? Going to Pomona, that's basically 2 rounds of points and a half. Say he red lights in the first or second round, and Matt, like, anything's possible. But for right now, like, I think he will have a big-time points lead going into the World Finals. And I think he wraps this up in Vegas or something like that, the way he's riding right now.
Okay, let's look at this weekend in perspective. We're at pretty much a sea-level track. The bikes love running at in Sonoma. And Matt pretty much was step for step lead, if you really think about it. The 700s he had in Gainesville and whatnot isn't really there anymore. He still has a performance advantage, but Matt's running right there with him. That's why that final was so intriguing that we didn't get to see. Because, anyone think Matt couldn't go 77, 78 in the finals?
I think good.
There's your answer. So I can't see it being a boat race.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be very exciting. You got something to add to that, Dujane?
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers, and his early numbers were great. Obviously, that you can throw away that one in a second. It's just that 81 versus the 89, and then Gage comes out and runs a 77. I don't think he comes out and runs anything close in the 70s that he ran in the first round. I don't know why that is, but I just can't. I can't see him going from an 81.9 to at least somewhere in the 70s. But you're right. I mean, he's pretty close. He is pretty close, especially in that first round. I mean, you know, wish you could have repeat, but I mean, even in that first round, Herrera ran a 72. I mean, even that 79 was nice, but Herrera ran a 72. So each and every time, Herrera is like a step ahead, with the exception of that second round that I'll throw away because, you know, shook the tire or whatever. But I just think Herrera's just too far ahead every time.
So I guess
there are more rounds of qualifying and eliminations that he's got 500s or more on the field than not.
You're right.
And why did they slow down? I mean, look at his speed in the that he had with his 679 in the semis. It was only 195. Kind of makes you wonder if he lifted a little earlier, the bike spun the tire, or what the deal was there.
Right.
Because he wasn't, you know, all the rest of the runs were 198, 199. But those 2 runs, I think in the second round and in the third round, they were struggling a little bit getting a hold of the track. I mean, Eddie had the best bike in the second round with a 76. I think they missed it. They were playing with the setup, but anything can happen. But I'll tell you what, I know what Matt Smith's best chance in this countdown is. It's real simple. You just put the Suzuki headlight sticker on the Buell, and you slap the hood when you win the championship and go, hump this old Chevy run. She's really noseable. Nobody knows it. Just get out there. He's really a Buell, but nobody knows it. But that's his best chance. Put a Suzuki headlight sticker on that Buell and go for it, because otherwise you're running for second.
So
I
I
love it.
guess the point I was making was Matt's best, I believe, can match Herrera's best, but Herrera's more consistent than Matt.
I agree with that.
Matt
And better
can't
lights.
Well, I think Matt can cut a light when he really wants to. I mean, when he really wants to. I mean, he's not necessarily Hector. I mean, he's all right. I mean,
Matt ain't gonna piss down his leg, that's for sure.
no, he's gonna be respectable on the tree. And I mean, let's Gage has had some issues on the starting line as well this year.
Yeah.
It's the reason he ain't won every race.
For sure. And it's definitely going to be exciting to see how it all plays out in the end. But in the end, here today, here at Sonoma Raceway, Gage Herrera gets the win. He is your champion, your Pro Stop Motorcycle champion. Hold on, let me bring this up. Did all this hard work and not to even show it. He is your Pro Stop Motorcycle champion from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals, and he is also your high performer of the race. 6th win of the season for Gage Herrera in 7 final rounds in 8 races so far this season. He sweeps the Western Swing, becomes the 9th driver in NHRA history to sweep the Western Swing. Man, in dominating fashion from that team. So before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys all for tuning in. Little trivia question. Dave has another trivia question coming up in just a little bit. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot harder than what I'm about to ask you. But put in the live chat all the other drivers in NHRA history to sweep the Western Swing. I have it for you at the end of the show. Put down in the live chat all the drivers who have swept the Western Swing in NHRA history. All right, so
you got the points.
Motorcycles.
No? Did they leave out the points? You got the points yet or no?
I don't have the points. Yeah, we
right.
got
so obviously, like I say, Gage is winning it by a landslide. Hector Jr. still second. Eddie Craywick's third. Matt Smith fourth. Angie Smith fifth. Steve Johnson sixth. By my unofficial math, all of them are officially clinched into the countdown because they only got Indy left. Chase Van Zandt seventh. Mark Ingerson moved up to eighth. Gianna Evaristo ninth. Kelly Klontz 10th. Ryan Ayler 11th. So, believe it or not, Karen Stouffer's run 2 races and she's still got a mathematical chance of making this top 10 at Indy. So, we know it's not going to happen. As soon as Kelly Klontz, who is 10th in points, shows up at Indy, that's going to eliminate Karen Stouffer and Lance Bonham because they both have to point their way in. As soon as Kelly qualifies, that eliminates Ron Torno. And if Kelly happens to win first round, that would eliminate Joey Gladstone, Chip Ellis, and John Hall. And that's even assuming that these guys show up to Indy with a bike, qualify number 1, and go rounds. I mean, it's a long shot for him to do it. So it looks like the only other additional driver from the top 11 is going to be Chris Bostic, who is back in 15th in the points. He has perfect attendance, so he will likely be the 12th and final motorcycle rider in the countdown. Not much drama going into Indy. A lot of guys will be punching their tickets. I'm imagining that NHRA, to spice up qualifying, is going to start handing out hats and medals and stuff after these guys make some qualifying passes just to signify that they qualified. But that's how it breaks down. And one more race to go to the race for the championship.
One more race to go, and that is the U.S. Nationals. Sucks that Gage Herrera's huge points lead is just going to get wiped away after Indy, but Pro Stop Motorcycles in the books. Let's now move on to the floppers. Nitro Funny Car. After a 2.5-year losing drought, the DHL Toyota Funny Car is back in the winner's circle. J.R. Todd, he gets the win. 20th win of his Nitro career, 11th in Nitro Funny Car. And I'll tell you, like I said, first win since Gainesville 2021. Dave, great to see that DHL Toyota Funny Car back in the winner's circle in Nitro Funny Car.
Hey, man, what can Brown do for you? The UPS car got it done today. Good job on them. Back-to-back finals. Good time to get hot, huh? Going into the countdown. maybe Team Coletta's working their way back up after the early season slump. They're getting this new car figured out, but congrats to JR. That's definitely one way to shut down all you haters.
Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, all jokes. The DHL Toyota Funny Car back in the winner's circle. Dujane, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. So we got two clowns in here. Two clowns.
Dujane, I gotta ask you. J.R. Todd is back in the winner's circle. It has taken 2.5 years. Last win on tour was the Gator Nationals 2021. 20th win of J.R. Todd's Nitro career, 11th in Nitro Funny Car. Like I said, great to see that car back in the winner's circle.
Absolutely. I love the response. They've been kind of working on this whole Western swing. They've been sneaking up on this thing, and it finally comes through here. It's real cool to be, all savvy on social media. And then JR comes out and tells that clown driving the car that this is me. I'm getting this dub. And the clown that he called clown pissed down his leg this weekend. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's always cool to be nice on social media, but couldn't drive. Moment was too big, pissed down his leg, and here we are. I was hoping to see them first round. I wanted to see a first round match, but it is what it is, right? You can call them FedEx, you can call them whatever you want to call them, but man, you got to come out and at least perform. You can't just come out and go target practice with the blocks and all of that. I'll give you your social media game, though. Your social media game is on fire, though. I'll give you that, but you pissed down your leg this weekend.
And obviously, like I mentioned, all jokes with the FedEx joke, like a lot of respect for Coletta Motorsports, Connie Coletta, and that whole DHL Funny Car and what it represents basically. JR Todd is one of my favorite drivers, and it's great to see him winning rounds. Like you mentioned, back-to-back final rounds. Came up short in the final round in Seattle last weekend to Tim Wilkerson, but goes one round further, gets it done here at Sonoma, the same track where he got his first win in Nitro Funny Car back in 2017. And also, it's also the same track where after he saluted the Sarge in 2006, he backed it up with a second win right after that back in 06. Mike, you actually talked to JR Todd this weekend, correct?
Yeah, I spoke with JR on Friday afternoon, and we just had a little talk about his season so far. And he was, he said, they had a few setbacks earlier in the season, and they just kind of been picking away at it. We all know about the fatal qualifying in Vegas and whatnot, and he kind of felt that they were turning the corner. I think this was their third straight semifinal appearance, and he was pretty upbeat. He kind of felt like there was a win on the way. They were still working on some things, but he was really in a positive mood as far as how far they've come since the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, semifinals in Norwalk, semifinals in Denver, got to the final round in Seattle, and then went one step further here in Sonoma, takes the win, 20th career win for JR Todd. Let's now take a look at the highlights of JR Todd's day here in Sonoma. First round taking on Blake Alexander. This is actually a rematch of the Mission Foods Challenge yesterday. Blake Alexander actually broke on the starting line. It's a rematch right here. Couldn't get his revenge as JR Todd gets the win, 395 with an 8 at 322 miles per hour. Blake Alexander, 398 at 320. Then in round number 2, it's your number 1 qualifier, Bob Taska, taking on JR Todd. And how about this? Bob Taska, he runs into trouble. He has a cylinder out, and JR Todd sails on through, 3.985 at 326. JR Todd is into another semifinal. Then it's the big one right here. It's Matt Hagan taking on JR Todd. And JR Todd, top end's going to get the win. Great run, 3.965, 325. Takes out Hagan in that Johnson horsepower garage car. JR Todd is into the final round here at Sonoma. In the final round, he'll take on the bad man, Chad Green. So let's now take a look at the highlights of Chad Green's day. First round, he's taking on Cruz Pedregon. Cruz Pedregon continues to struggle here in 2023. Chad Green right down the boulevard, 3.923, 328. Chad Green is moving into the quarterfinals. Then in round number 2, he's going to take on Paul Lee, who picked up his first round win of the season against Alexis Joria. Can he do it again? No, he gets way over towards the wall, has to get out of it. Chad Green, another round win, another semifinal, 3.963, 325. Chad Green is into the Final Four in Nitro Funny Car. We saw Matt Hagan get outrun in the semifinals. What will happen now to the 3-time world champion Ron Capps? Well, he's going to get outrun as well. Chad Green, 3.991, 324. So Ron Capps is 401 with the 3 at 317. So it's Toyota and it's Ford. It's JR Todd and it's Chad Green. It's your final round in Sonoma. Let's take a look at that final round. right now.
Dan Wilkerson looks across. John Oberhofer, they both turn the screw. They both turn their drivers loose. It's going to be J.R. Todd, 397, 322 for the win. Chad Green goes 403, 314 miles an hour. We have not seen a Coletta mosh pit in over a year. And we're going to get one now. J.R. Todd, his first win since Gainesville 21.
868 days since one of those has been in your hand. You told us earlier that winning was going to start snowballing for you. What's next for this team?
Just keep doing what we're doing, Amanda, going down the track like this. Can't thank Todd Smith, Jono, the Yellow Fellas, everybody involved. Connie, we finally got one of these. He's going back to Jupiter with me. Oh, man, Chad Head, Toyota, Reg is here. He's our good luck charm. Can't thank everybody enough to do this here in wine country. All Toyota winner circle here. It's great. Hopefully we keep doing this. Woo!
Hey, I'll tell you what. During that final round, it was synchronized just with Alan Reinhart. I said it out loud. J.R. Todd when he crossed the finish line first. I was cheering at home when J.R. Todd got the win. Dujanet, I got to ask you a serious question. We had a comment here that just said J.R. Todd is hot. He's a series championship contender. Do you agree with that? With this string of success, for semifinals in Norwalk, in Denver, final round in Seattle, final round here in Sonoma, a win here in Sonoma, does that put him back in title contention talks?
100%. This is what you want to see. You know, sometimes you see guys come up and they get one, get a win and whatnot, but they really hadn't shown it. I think Clay's a good example of that. They've gotten a couple wins, but when you look at the rest of the body of work, it doesn't really say that, okay, they're in the conversation to be a contender because the body of work just doesn't fit. But they're getting hot at the right time. They started making a progression. They were starting to get a handle on this thing early in the Western swing. And I really do think now you really have to watch out for them as a contender. I think this is going to be huge for them. I think, you know, all the words said, I think it's great. I think it was fired up JR. And I also think the fact that he had that feeling, like Mike said, he had that feeling that a win was coming. Now they got that win. And I think this can build off and get that confidence for the entire team that they can continue to do this. So I definitely think he is definitely a contender in all of this. And these other cars that are at the top, they're going to have to watch out because he's got a lot of momentum right now.
And Todd Smith said they're too good of a team to have went this long without winning. And I definitely do agree with that. And definitely they've done a lot of their damage in these hot weather tracks, especially here on the Western swing, running consistently in the mid to high 390s. Dave, I got to ask you, do you think, like I said, with this string of success J.R. Todd has had, does this put him back in championship talks? And can they run the big time numbers with the Capses and the Hagens and everything like that in the countdown when it gets cool?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like you say, that's really going to be the great equalizer is the countdown because, as you look at funny car points, no different than the motorcycles, Matt Hagan and Ron Capps have kind of like run away from the field. They're consistently a round apart from each other. They swap the lead back and forth, and everybody else is over 116 back. And JR, unfortunately, with that DNQ that he had earlier in the year, is even a little bit further back than that. He got around John Force up to 8th at this particular point, but he's still 200 and some back. But the run that they've been on, it remains to be seen how they do when they get back to the cool weather stuff in the countdown that you're going to need it. I'm imagining that they can probably get themselves even higher as we get through these next couple events at Topeka and Brainerd. See what Indy brings. JR's had good success there. And, yeah, they could definitely put their name in the mix when it comes down to it. But we'll see how the next couple of events and if that consistency continues or they go back to struggling and early round losses.
In the final round, J.R. Todd, took on Chad Green. Chad Green finally broke through from the semifinals and got to the final round. Great season so far for Chad Green and Daniel Wilkerson, the crew chief on that car. Mike D, he consistently keeps putting himself in position to win. Chad Green's day is coming for sure very soon, I would think.
I'd like to think so. I was hoping it would be today, just to see a guy who, when you first seen Chad Green, you figured the top tier teams would just put the A to B setup in there and you should be able to beat him. He's not that guy anymore. I think he went 92 in the first round. I mean, he can run with the best of them, and he's kind of earned the respect now. I mean, you can't overlook him. You can't go up there soft. You got to race him and beat him. And I was really going for him today. I mean, I like the underdog story. I mean, granted, JR hadn't won in a long time, but I was going for Chad Green today, and he put up a respectable number. I mean, JR had to beat him. It wasn't like he didn't smoke the tires or anything. He didn't beat himself. I think a win's coming. When? I don't know, but I think a win's coming for Chad Green. The car is just too consistent.
I believe he could have gotten the win. He dropped the cylinder late on that. Let's see if we're looking at the cars on the right bank. He dropped that cylinder, and when I saw the cylinder go out, I was like, "Dang, JR's going to drive around him." I think they could have ran a 90 something, but I believe they could have won.
And he left first, so he had a little bit in the bank. He had a little bit of a hold shot on JR. I think it probably would have still turned out JR's way, but I think it could have been a lot closer. Yeah, his speed was way down because of that dropped cylinder. But if he runs another 96, 7, 8 with JR and the starting line advantage, it could have went the other way.
Yeah, I'm just looking at visually because I don't have the numbers, but he's got to have one of the most consistent cars in the category. I mean, that thing's just a semifinal fixture everywhere we go. Yeah. And credit to his crew chief, Daniel Wilkerson. I mean, he's giving John Force-like interviews, and he's tuning, man. I mean, we ain't finna call him Austin Coyle, but I mean, he's doing his thing, man. I mean, for kids that young to be putting up that kind of performance numbers and having that car consistently in the semifinals, I mean, you think of where the future crew chiefs are, because we don't, it's a lot of old guys out there that are still crew chiefing. Daniel Wilkerson. I mean, think his stock ain't gonna go up after this season?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I'll tell you what, it was so cool when Chad Green beat Ron Capps in the semifinals, and Daniel Wilkerson gave that interview on the starting line. And when he turned around and run back to the pits, you saw Tim Wilkerson just the nod of approval, the big smile on his face, seeing his son tune a Nitro Funny Car to the final round. I thought that was so cool. Dujanet, you have a lot of football analogies here on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you agree with this, you first have to, and we know Chad Green knows how to win. He's driven pro mod. He knows how to win. But if far here Nitro Funny Car, you first have to lose before you learn how to win, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're doing a good job of that collectively as a whole. I think you've seen, like Mike talked about, Daniel improve over these races, and they just keep getting stronger and stronger as time goes on. I think you see Chad Green getting better and better on the starting line. That car continues to be driven straight and true. So I think it definitely builds character. Once you learn, you learn how to lose, you're going to get the W's. And they've been doing a very solid job, not just on race day, but they've been in several Too Fast, Too Tasties. And I think that's been also a help for this team. They got to get one at some point. They just keep doing what they do. You keep bring your lunch pail to work, and you got that workman mentality. Go out there and grind, and that's what they've been doing all season long.
Dave, where's Chad Green in points now? If you have it,
he's third. He's third
in points. Nice.
So, like I was saying, basically Matt Hagan and Ron Capps have kind of been playing, toss back and forth with the points lead, and they're still a round apart. He's 116 back in third, moved his way up from fifth. Basically, Chad, Robert Height, and Alexis DeJoria have been kind of trading those spots around. They're kind of like the next group of cars, I guess you'd call it. Tasca and Wilkerson have been the next two. Now you can bring J.R. Todd into that mix, and then John Force down in ninth and Cruz Pedregon back in 10th towards the back. But yeah, Chad is, he's been slowly working his way up, but like you say, keep semifinal in the death, and he's going to be in the Mission Foods Challenge next time that we go to Topeka as well. So, more race day experience, I guess if you'd call it that, to try and turn on a win light as opposed to just qualifying, putting up a number. But, who would have thought that this far into the season he'd be that high up in points compared to some of the other guys? And, like I say, even ahead of Robert Height and Alexis and Tasca, who we thought were going to be, top 5 for sure this year. He has definitely moved himself up from, 6th through 10th, second tier, if you will, up to top 5 contender. Well, I should say top 5. You're going to have to move up to the big 2 when the countdown comes. That's going to be real interesting to see because, but since we mentioned the Mission Foods challenges, no, he hasn't, he's been involved in them. He's got 3 bonus points right now to the countdown. Ron Capps at the moment has the most at 11. Or actually, no, I think he was 3, maybe 4. So he's got a little bit to start with. Nothing huge, but we still have more events to go and more chance to pick up some more points too.
For sure. What's up, What's up, Mike?
No, I was gonna say one thing to really look at with Daniel Wilkerson, a crew chief's in a groove when they can call their shot. And lately, he's been calling his shots. I mean, when they interview him, he said we were looking to go 92, it went 92. We were looking to go 96, it went. I mean, and he's not overstepping. He's just calling his shots, and he's in a groove. And when a crew chief can call their shots, that's dangerous.
It is. That's kind of like an offensive coordinator. When they're in the groove and they're calling these plays and everything seems to be flowing quite well, I mean, he's going out there and looking at the track and, the defense, and it's like, all right, let's do this. And he's making it happen each and every time. Yeah. Good point, Mike.
Let's now see how it played out in Nitro Funny Car. Let's take a look now at the Nitro Funny Car ladder. And like I said, want to give a shout out to Paul Lee getting his first round win of the season. Took down Alexis DeJoria in the first round. She turned on the red light. Dave, anybody else here on this ladder you want to point out? Not saying that Matt Hagan and Ron Capps had the best cars this weekend, but I was fully thinking we're going to see a Matt Hagan, Ron Capps final round. But like we saw, J.R. Todd and Chad Green went up there and outran them and squared off in the final round. Dave, anybody else you want to point out here on the Nitro Funny Car ladder?
Yeah, a couple guys that we don't really see on the ladder. Jason Rupert came out, had some solid runs. Even the first round, he gave Matt Hagan more of a run than I think Hagan's team thought that they were going to get.
Hey, Dave. Jason Rupert, I hang out at his shop all the time. I'm actually recording this from Orange County, California right now. Shout out to Jason Rupert, OC boy out of Orange County, California. 412 in the final qualifying session. 403 against Matt Hagan first round. Shout out to Jason Rupert, baby. You keep going.
I tell you what, man, a little bit better light, and that could have went the other way, and nobody would have saw that one coming. But yeah, definitely a huge shout out to that team. Tim Gibbons, Jeff Deal's team, struggled a little bit. I don't know that he wouldn't necessarily had anything for Capps, had Capps made it down the track, but kind of like Alex Laughlin had mentioned earlier, it seemed like they didn't give, after Alex waited for JR to start the car, and then they started their routine, and Alex got the car in gear. They didn't give him enough time to get up to the starting line. Tim had a little bit of trouble with reverse, couldn't get it back. Then they got him back. Then he was getting it into gear. I don't know if they eventually did get it going back forward again, but it seemed like as they were trying and attempting, they waved him off way too quickly, in my opinion. Threw Capps in the beams. Capps goes out there, lights up the tires. What could have been for Tim Gibbons in the first round.
For sure. Dujanay, anybody else you want to point out here on the Nitro Funny Car ladder?
Alexis DeJoria. At some point, you have got to get the starting line together. When you look at this Western swing, it's too much lateness in this Western swing deal. Yes, she made it to the final round in the Mahan Nationals, but her lights were awful. And when you start talking, well, I've said this about Angel, it goes for a lot. It goes for every woman or man. When you start talking about your lights, you're thinking about it. And when you are thinking about it too much, you are in your head and you make mistakes. That's 2 reds. You got to fix that. You've got a car. You qualified second. You can't keep doing this stuff. At some point, you got to, I don't know, you got to do some yoga. I don't know what you got to do, but you got to clear your mind. You got to go back to the basics. It's like a basketball player at the free throw line. When he's thinking about the fact that he's missing and bricking them up, guess what? He keeps bricking them up. So you're going to have to work on that. You got to go back to basics and got to get the mind right. You're throwing away a quality card that could consistently at least be in the semifinal round. All you got to do is be better on the tree and not turn the red light on. and be under at least in the 60-70 range. Can't be 1-0. Can't be 1-0. It's got to be better because the car is there. The drivers just got to refocus. I think it's the same thing I talked about when Brittany was going through her deal. When you start thinking about it, it becomes an issue because now that's what you think about when you go to the line. Now you're trying not to be late and you're too early, or you're late anyway. So got to go back to basics and refocus. Get your whole mind right, and let's get back to doing what we know she's capable of doing, and that's cutting a decent light because the car is there. The car is there to be able to win, in my opinion. So that's my rant for the time being.
Yeah, she's definitely struggled on the line this year. You remember even in Joliet with the body issue tripping up the lights too. There's been a lot of a starting line snafus that have cost them some round wins.
And I know we've kind of, talked about Cruz's struggles so far this year as well, but they continue here in 2023. Only 6 round wins, 6 first-round losses through 12 races so far this year, only 6 round wins. It's a tough go for Cruz and that whole Snap-on team here in 2023.
It's surprising. I mean, they were quite consistent, at least this weekend, at least putting some repeat laps down. But again, like you said, can't find a win. They couldn't buy one if they had the ability to be able to buy a win. They couldn't even buy one right now. It's wild to me because I know what they have over there. It's just interesting and very mind-boggling that they just can't seem to put it all together, especially on race day.
And Mike, I know you talked to that team. I don't know what you can share because I know some of that was off the record, but I know you kind of went over and talked to that Cruz team this weekend. Is there anything that you talked about in that conversation that you could share on air?
No.
No? Okay, I got you.
No.
I got you.
I mean,
yeah.
But the unfortunate part is you look at a car like a Lexus and you can see that's a win looking for a place to happen. Cruz's car isn't looking for anything to happen. I mean, no one sees that thing. There's no light at the end of the tunnel if you're watching this, if you've been watching that car all year. I mean, we don't see anything. I mean, yeah, he made a lap or two in Sonoma, but they just don't have anything going right now. I mean, at least for Lexus, the car is there. For Cruz, car ain't there. But let's not be so hard on Cruz's car, because is John Force's car any better?
And Mike,
no,
I wanna save that because I know we want to get into that. I want to save that for Top Fuel because I want to add that with Brittany Forrest because the perplexed look on David Grubnick's face when she smoked the tires against Steve Torrance. I want to talk about John Force Racing as a whole during Top Fuel. So just save that point for just a little bit, okay? We'll get back to it.
Alan Johnson syndrome.
We'll get back to it because I mean the look, like he was perplexed when that car smoked the tires. I'm like, wow. So I want to get to that.
Isn't half of them are walking to the 330 every time a car smokes the tires, your crew chief is walking to the 330 like it's something on the track. I mean,
but Dave, I don't know. Grubnick, it just seemed like, man, he's more animated with it. I'm like, wow, like he just looked like, wow, we're struggling right now.
Yeah.
Hey, she still got low ET to meet though.
There you go.
That's what the mind-boggling part about it was.
Missed the top speed. That was a shocker.
Salinas.
But you know what? Even for as bad as John Force's car may be, he's still got 100 more points than Cruz. So, yeah, I think Cruz's car is worse than John's. Yes. Cruz has nothing to show for it. John's at least gone rounds, #1 qualifier. He's done some stuff. He's made A to B runs. And Snap-on team struggling.
What does that say right here? It says, you can't buy respect, you have to earn it. I think that's perfect what we're talking about right here. Can't buy respect, you have to earn it.
Facts.
But in the end, J.R. Todd gets the win here at the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. It's his first win since the Gator Nationals back in 2021. It's the 20th win of his career, 11th in Nitro Funny Car. Same place where he got his first Nitro Funny Car win back in 2017. Congratulations to J.R. Todd, Connie Coletta, and the whole Coletta Motorsports team. Their first win of the season. Let's now see if the Dragsters can follow suit in the near future. So, Pro Stop Motorcycles in the books, Nitro Funny Cars in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys all for tuning in to the special edition of Inside the NHRA. Darren Williams Jr., along with my buddies Dave W., Dujane Bland, and Mike Dennis. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time to break down Top Fuel Eliminator.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the NHRA. Darren Williams Jr., along with Dave W., Dujane Bland, and Mike Dennis. Want to give a shout out right here to Frank Clark Jr. He says, my first time here, very nice. Appreciate you tuning in, Frank Clark Jr., to Inside the NHRA. And got to give a shout out to Scott Purley. Like I said, he has supported the channel so much in donations. He sends $9.99 to the American Hot Rod Entertainment YouTube channel. Thank you to Scott Purley for the super chat right there. And then got to give a shout out to Grandma. She donates as well. Good show. I want to thank Grandma right there for tuning in to Inside the NHRA. I love it. I love it. All right. So, like I mentioned, Pro Stop Motorcycle is in the books. Nitro Funny Car is in the books.
But
Dave,
wait.
What's up?
But we forgot our trivia question for Nitro Funny Car.
Oh,
you passed away.
There you go. There you go, Dave.
Away from it. They had mentioned Chad Green won Pro Mod and he's in a Nitro Funny Car final. He is the third person to race in a Nitro Funny Car final after winning in Pro Modified in the NHRA. Who are the other two?
Ooh.
Are we supposed to answer that? Or are you as a comments?
We could answer it later in the show. We could let the comments roll, see if anybody comes up with it. It'd be interesting
I'm
to
pretty
see.
sure I know. I think I know the other two.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you do.
I'm pretty sure I know the other two.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, tell everybody we're capping off the show with.
Top Fuel Eliminator.
Well, that didn't take long. Justin Ashley in the Phillips Connect Top Fuel Dragster is back in the winner's circle. 5th win of the year for Justin Ashley, 10th of his career. And how about this? To put the icing on the cake, he takes back the Top Fuel points lead from Justin Ashley, and he stays perfect in California. Won Pomona, win Sonoma. He's perfect in California. How about Justin Ashley getting the win here today here in Sonoma, Dave?
Yeah, and kind of like we talked about in Funny Car trading back and forth, Justin and Steve have been going back and forth in the top of the Top Fuel ranks, and by going, well, not only around further, but winning the race, now he's 32 up on Steve, and he's definitely put himself back into mission Too Fast, Too Tasty category next week, or not next week, next race in Topeka, and see if he can add even more to his growing countdown pot. And I think at this particular point, it's pretty safe to say he's probably going to be at least the top seed, one of the top 2 seeds based on the rest of the point standings going. So they're definitely not taking that 2022 championship loss sitting down. They are coming out and definitely showing that they got some muscle to flex here in this season, and it'll be interesting to see how they carry it through.
Dujane, 5th win of the year for Justin Ashley. Strong race car. I feel like just the only thing that team has to basically just get down right is just consistency. Just cut out the first round losses. If they have that, man, they're a tough team to beat.
I agree. When they're on, they're on. When they're off, though, they're off. So it's just a matter of them being able to string it together a little bit and being more consistent because, if this continues all the way up to Indy, you know my saying, Bill Parcells says you are what you are. So you're going to carry that right into the countdown. There's no magic wand that as soon as the countdown comes around that things are going to change. So they're going to have to show this coming into the next couple of races. We've got a short fourth quarter, of the regular season. So they're going to have to really show this in this short fourth quarter that they can continue to put this together consistently. It's really crazy that Steve and Justin have been trading back and forth when Justin has had more wins. Steve has quietly just been hanging around there at the, in the top half and right at the top. So it's really interesting, and it could be really interesting in the countdown. Especially, it seems like Steve's starting to try to get it together too. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And big win, like I said, for Justin Ashley. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he mentioned today's his dad's birthday. Mike Ashley's birthday was today.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Awesome. So great birthday present for your dad. Let's now take a look at the highlights of Justin Ashley's day. First round taking on Doug Coletta. This was a great first round matchup because they're your number 8 and 9 qualifiers, first pair of the day. Both laid down great 377s in the final qualifying session. They're matched up in round number 1. And I'll tell you what, they put on a show in the first round. Top end, Justin Ashley gets the win, 3.707 at 329 miles per hour to Doug Coletta's 375 with a 0 at 328. Doug Coletta's final round streak is over here in Sonoma. Then in round number 2, it's the two young guns. It's Justin Ashley taking on Austin Prock. And there's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Justin Ashley beating Austin Prock as Justin Ashley gets the win once again, 3.704 at 327 miles per hour to Austin Prock, your number 1 qualifier, 376 with the 1 at 329. Then it's Josh Hart and Justin Ashley. And I'll tell you what, Josh Hart was a maniac on the starting line here today. Comes up just short here in the semifinals. Justin Ashley, 376 with an 8 at 329 to Josh Hart's 379.3 at 327. Justin Ashley, is into another final round. In the final round, he'll take on his technical alliance teammate, Antron Brown. We're going to talk about the incident with Antron Brown that happened yesterday in just a second. But let's now take a look at the highlights of Antron Brown's day. First round, taking on the hometown hero, Mike Salinas. And I'll tell you what, great drag race right here. Top end, Antron gets the win by 7 thousandths of a second. Antron Brown, he's your winner in the first round against Mike Salinas, 374 with a 4 at over 330 miles per hour. And like I mentioned, Dave Grubnick, a perplexed look on his face when Brittany Force smokes the tires right at the hit. Antron, he has problems down track, but he still gets the win, 403.4 at 277. Like you see right there, David Grubnick, man, he is confused. Brittany Force, 632.1 at 132. Antron Brown is moving into the semifinals. Then it's AB taking on Steve Torrance, the good friends right here. And how about it? Another great drag race. Top end, Antron, another round win, 379 with the 4 at 329 to Steve Torrance's 381 at 328. Antron Brown is into the final round. So it's Justin Ashley, Antron Brown, final here at Sonoma. Let's take a look at that final right now.
Trying to get back in the winner's circle here against his good buddy Antron. Final 2 cars. .377 beats 378 by 1 thousandth of a second. Justin Ashley, 1 Phoenix, 1 Pomona, 1 Epping, 1 Bristol, and now he's won Sonoma.
So if we just took an impressive look at that slow-mo of that wheel stand, how extraordinary is this season for you, Justin?
Well, it's been amazing, and I think that's the beautiful part about NHRA drag racing is a lot of people see what happens on the racetrack, and I'm the driver who gets to have fun, but what about the team who puts it together? And Mike Green and Tommy Delago, this car was on rails all weekend long. And how about our teammate Antron Brown? This is a Team Toyota double-up, and we had a Team Toyota final right there, and they ran great all weekend long. Just so great for Phillips Connect, Toyota, Kato, Mac Tools, Impact, all our awesome sponsors. Thank you, guys.
He hiked the front end up. Larry Dixon, Dick LaHaye style in that final round, Dave. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful launch. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, man, that's like the Miller time dragster up there hanging the front wheels and just marching to the finish line. Man, what can you say? What can you say about Justin? I mean, the guy's just having him a great season. But to further Dujanot's point, he's like, I'm surprised that Justin and Steve have been swapping back and forth with the lead. Well, that's what consistency versus up and down seasons look like. Justin's got all those wins, but he's got all those early round losses to go with it. Steve's been going rounds. They about equal out. And it'd be interesting to see how these would play out all the way through if we didn't have the points reset. If these would remain the top two, or if the other ones would kind of catch up at the end. The other thing I'd like to mention is when you say consistency, I feel like the consistency and qualifying is what they really need to work on, because he qualified 7th here. That was actually the 7-8 pair because we had a short field first round against Doug Coletta. But he's not going out there and, you know, qualifying top 4 spots and dominating and then just continuing through race day. They're taking all these runs to keep getting the track figured out and getting the thing figured out. So those are probably the two things that they need to work on is early round losses and trying to get it together, get the track figured out and qualify.
And we're going to talk about Antron Brown in just a second. Like I mentioned, you know, a great comeback after the near possible devastation he would have faced yesterday. That win could have come off. We're going to talk about Antron in just a second. Before we do that, though, Mike Dennis, Josh Hart, like I said, a killer on the reaction time here today. 0.45 in round number 1 against Tony Schumacher, but then an 0.26 against Sean Langdon. You think Sean Langdon will lead first. Josh Hart was 0.26 in the second round, and then 0.35 against Justin Ashley in the semifinals. Came up just a little bit short, but Josh Hart, he was on his game here today, here on the starting line.
Yeah, he was, but we saw that in Denver. He was 0.26 when he beat Leah.
Yeah.
And obviously, he stepped it up. I mean, you got to. One thing about the Justin Ashley car is Mike Green doesn't have to run low ET every round because he's got a driver that's going to give you 200s right off the start line. And I mean, how many times have we seen Justin Ashley win on hole shots? I mean, how great is that for a tuner when you don't have to do those things? So, Josh Hart's car is coming around. I talked to him this weekend. They started off the season. It looked like it was real strong, and they said they had some issues. I believe he said with the clutch, they had some issues. They've gotten things figured out, and it shows. I mean, they were right there. I mean, this is a race that they actually could have won today.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what that Josh Hart's drafts are going to do. But as far as Justin Ashley, when you got a crew chief, a winning crew chief like Mike Green, who's been there and done that, and you take a driver like Justin Ashley, that's a pretty tough combination to beat. I'm not crowning them champions by any means, but they're going to definitely be there. And like I said, Mike doesn't have to go low every round because you know Justin can go 0.30 in a treat any given round, anytime he wants, it seems like. I mean, you can kind of lay up sometimes when you do that. I mean, instead of pushing for a 70 flat, you say, well, we'll just go 72 and let our driver, he's going to give us 200-300s. As a crew chief, I'm smiling. But we'll see. I mean, he's got a tough car. He's won 5 races. We'll see.
And that's
We've seen guys win the most races and then come to the countdown and it not happen. And then they start cursing out the countdown system, which is kind of hilarious. But, I mean.
It is. Excuses.
I mean, so we'll see. I'm not crowning him because there's just too many good cars. There are too many good cars in top field. I mean.
And I think you got to worry about. I think you got to worry about Torrance turning the corner in the countdown because I think we know what he does in the countdown.
Well, has he not turned the corner? I mean, he's got a lot of round wins.
I'm saying about picking it up because he's been more consistent than him anyway. So I talked to Steve this weekend, and what people are used to is seeing this I told Steve, I said, you have the points lead this weekend, which he's lost. But I said, but it's not a Steve Torrance points lead. And we're so used to seeing this Steve Torrance points lead, this dominant car. Those days are over, I think. That's just my opinion. Those days are over. It's not that Torrance still can't run with the best of them. I think everybody's just caught up. And everyone's just kind of on a level playing field right now. And now it's who's the most consistent car. And right now, I think Steve Torrance is probably the most consistent car right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to crown him either. Right.
But as far as turning the corner, think there's a corner to turn. I mean, they're running right there. It's not like they're struggling. I mean, raise your hand if you think Steve Torrence is struggling. I don't think he is.
Right.
Really, Dave? Steve Torrence is struggling? Okay.
Did you see that bomb in the second round?
Yeah, I was going to say, you popped the ball. Good thing he had no one to race against that.
Yeah, right. Because he'd have been gone, baby.
Yeah. But in the big picture of things, I don't think anyone can sit here and say Steve Torrence is struggling this season. We're just so used to seeing him on this pedestal where he just had 300-400s on the field. It's just not there anymore. It doesn't mean he's struggling.
No, I definitely do agree with that. And I'll tell you what a monster Final Four we had in Top Fuel. I just like Justin Ashley, Josh Hart, and then Steve Torrence and Antron Brown. I felt like that was just a monster Final Four in Top Fuel Eliminator. Like we mentioned, Antron Brown making it to the final round, but Steve Torrence getting his swagger back. He is looking strong. Like you said, that team is running strong right now, coming off the win. Back-to-back Mission Foods, 2 Fast, 2 Tasty Challenge wins. Steve Torrence is going to be tough throughout the rest of the year. And Josh Hart, like I said, a killer on the tree, has a great race car as well. I feel like the Final Four on Top Fuel did not disappoint, and they put on a show. Let's now take a look how it all played out in Top Fuel Eliminator. And I guess this is the time now where we can kind of talk about the John Force Racing struggles. Mike, if you want to pick up from right there, because
I mean, if you're waiting on a team to turn the corner, it's Brittany Force, your champ from last year. That's who you should be waiting to turn the corner. And I mean, that car, as you say, perplexed look, but Austin Prock does not have a bad car. I believe he had the second quickest run of that round. He just went against the wrong car. Unfortunate, but true.
Yeah.
If we want to delve in a funny car, John Force's car is nowhere to be found.
You know why, though? You know why?
Because it smokes the tire a lot?
Because of his crew chief.
Uh-oh.
Well,
it's Danny Hood, period.
Yes. So
and he got a guy over there that should be help balancing the misses that he makes, and it doesn't seem to have gotten that way. He's been missing. He missed last year in the big moments, and he's still doing the same exact thing. It ain't John. It's the tuner.
Well, I talked to John this weekend.
What did John say?
John said, and I'm not quoting, but I have it recorded, that they have to push the car harder because he can't keep up on the lights. So they're trying to make up the difference. It's kind of that opposite effect with the Justin Ashley deal, where Mike Green can probably give away 200s because he knows his driver, where they're doing the opposite with John's car. This is what John told me. That he's on the lights, and that they're having to push the car harder to try to keep up, to try to win races.
I mean, he's on. To be doing what he's doing is amazing. So I can get that.
Yeah. I mean, that was we talked for a second in his holler, and that was one of the things he did tell me, because I asked him, I said, I mean, it's surprising you haven't won a race this year. And he understands that his car is inconsistent. He does know that, but he says part of the reason why is that they push his car to make up for his deficit on the start line.
All right.
Now, as far as the rest of Team Force, Grubnick changed the combination after winning the championship, and
you think it was too early to change that combination?
I don't question crew chiefs when they want to do that sometimes, because you just win a championship. I get it. You kind of want to roll with what got you there, but Grubnick, he's pretty smart. I mean, I wasn't gonna second guess him, but I mean, sometimes it takes time, and that car has not turned the corner yet. I mean, it showed flashes, but it's very inconsistent. I mean, it's almost like John's car. It shows flashes, but
it's not like Brittany Force dominated last year when she won the championship. Yeah, she would go out and run low ET top speed and run these big time speed records, but it's not like she was dominating.
No, she didn't really dominate. I mean, the shock is, to me, even though he's won 2 races, Robert's car, there was a time when you go, that car scares you. Robert Height's car doesn't really scare you. I mean, if Chad Green was to race Robert Height on any given day, I'm probably rolling with Chad Green right now. Granted, one car is capable of going faster. I mean, let's just face it, Crockett, but consistency. I mean,
I think that's a team that's been caught, though. And they've been caught with their pants down around their ankles, and they're playing catch up. You know, I agree with you with Grubnick. I just wanted to ask you the question to see what you thought. My opinion, you know what my opinion was. I've said this before. You got to take steps back to move forward. If you're not trying something new in this business and you're gonna keep going with the same old because you won a couple of championships, you're gonna get past. And when you get past, you're gonna be playing catch up. So I don't fault Grubnick for making those decisions. But that car they have been caught. Their pants are down around their ankles and they playing catch up.
Well, the problem is they're beating themselves.
True.
No,
I'll give you that too.
No one's really outrunning them. You just wait for her to smoke the tires. It's gonna happen. Just wait for her to smoke the tires. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Right.
No one's really. It's gonna put a hole out or smoke the tires. And they've been dropping cylinders like crazy in that car.
Yeah.
So when she does get outran, it's because she puts a hole out. If that thing goes on all 8, she usually wins. She was low for the first round, I believe. And then what happened? She smoked the tires. Tires, hole out. That's their problem.
You talking about Brittany here?
Yeah.
It seems like that's the whole entire force.
Torrance's explosion. That's why.
On the track. No, I mean that car has dropped a lot of cylinders. If you look back at a lot of races this year, she's been dropping cylinders all season long. And when they get it to run on 8 and not smoke, it usually runs pretty much low for the session.
Well, when she run that crazy speed, a cylinder was out.
There you go.
On the mountain, when she ran that crazy speed on the mountain, the cylinder was out.
Pretty late.
It was late in the run. It was late in the run, but I think she dropped one.
So
you know, the funny thing about Brittany is, you know, you say, you know, you kind of have that like, where is she this year? And I get it. It makes sense because if you take out the 4-wide competition, her last 2-wide final was when she won Las Vegas in 2022 at the end of the year. She hadn't even been to a final round since then, except for if you go to 4-wide competition, she was in the Vegas 4-wide final, and maybe a little bit better light, she could have won that race. She ended up 3rd, so it technically doesn't even count as a winner or runner-up. It counts as semifinal finish for that way that the 4-wide statistics work out. But 12 races this year. 10 of them she's had top speed at a meet. 5 of them she's had low ET. She's had 3 number 1 qualifiers. And she's 3rd in points, by the way. She's still best of the rest for as bad as she is and as much as they smoke the tires and drop holes and everything else. She's 3rd in points. Better than Antron, better than Leah, better than Austin Prock, better than Salinas, better than Hart. She's better than everybody except for Torrance and Ashley. So she's still not having that bad of a year in comparison.
And we're still waiting on her to turn the corner.
Right. But the hard part is when the countdown starts, Justin Ashley's going in probably with, well, obviously the automatic 20-point because he's probably going to be first, but then you're going to add another 15 on top of that for all the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenges. Brittany's bringing 1 with her so far. So that's going to hurt when we do the points reset. She's going to be starting in a bigger hole. But the fact that if they can get the car down the track, I think Brittany's saving grace is qualifying points. She gets those baby session points per race, and she gets qualifying position points, and that's what keeps her in the mix. But she's still, like I say, she's 3rd. She's almost 200 points behind Justin Ashley, but she's still 3rd in points. Antron Bounds 214 back, and Leah's 217 back. Antron actually came up from all the way up from 7th to 4th this weekend. Like Antron was saying, I don't know if you watched NHRA TV in one of his interviews, he kind of even referenced how Justin and Steve are kind of way out there. But 3rd through 9th in points are within basically a race, 80-some points. So now that the vice tightens, now when we go to Topeka and now when we go to Brainerd, if that car keeps struggling, Brittany can find herself at the back of the countdown. Now you're talking about a hole to dig out of.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very surprised she hasn't even made it. I mean, outside of the Vegas deal, hasn't even won a race or been to a final yet. That's, I mean, who would have thought that? You know, we still in the John Force thing? I mean,
up to you.
I mean, we talked about John. We talked about our car. Robert's car, like I said, Robert's car doesn't scare anyone anymore. I mean, it's kind of got that Brittany syndrome going on with it. I mean, it'll put a hole out or it's going to smoke the tires. I mean, Proc can go low any beginning of the week. We know that. But Robert hasn't had the consistency. The 2 wins is what make him look real great, but that car hasn't been running that great. It hasn't been that consistent, if you ask me. And Austin doesn't have a bad car at all. I mean, there's nothing really you can say bad about Austin Prock's car. It's just Top Fuel is just crazy right now. I mean, he had the second quickest running around today, and he just went against the wrong car. He would have beat everyone else. I mean, yeah.
Same weekend happened in Seattle last weekend. Took on Brittany first round, made a great pass, just got beat.
Yeah. The most consistent car is actually Austin Prock's car. Go figure.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
I mean, yeah, I think we probably beat the Force thing to death, but Robert Height and Brittany Force are still kind of like best of the rest. Austin's still not that far behind. He's in 6th. John's the one that's kind of like, where'd he go? He's all the way back at 9th in points. But you got 2 cars that are pretty close and 2 that are kind of struggling to catch up. But Austin's got to win, and also number 1 qualifier this weekend, which surprisingly was only the 2nd of his career.
With that great 370 with a 4.
And then obviously got eclipsed by Brittany in first round. But I mean, you look at, I think for me, the biggest thing, at least on the Top Fuel side of things, not so much in Funny Car, but kind of because of the way it's played out, short fields. When you got these 12, 13, and 14 car fields, the ladder is so messed up. It's not the 116, 2. You don't get easy first rounds anymore. Anybody can stop up at any time. As a matter of fact, because there have been so few competitors right now, if as long as Sean Langdon, Tony Schumacher, all the etc. keep going to the next 3 races, which of course they're going to, nobody else can point their way in Top Fuel. Your top 12 is set in Top Fuel unless somebody don't show up, because Dan Mercier is 13th in points, and from him on back, nobody can earn enough points to even get up to 10th right now. So your top 12 is set. But like I say, when you got 12, 13 cars showing up, I mean, I hate to say Tony Schumacher's a first-round duck, but the way he's been running lately, you kind of want to get him first round because he's been
reaction time was a duck today.
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent out first round. But Sean Langdon's 11th in points, Clay Milliken's 10th. Usually easy first round losers, but then they got wins. They're Clay's got 2 wins on the year. Sean's picking up round wins. They're getting that turned around. So it's so topsy turvy, and there's no, you don't have the TJ Zizzos and the Pat Dankins and the Keith Mertz and the Greg Carrillo. You don't have the field fillers at the bottom half where, you need to qualify top 4 and you're pretty much guaranteed a round win. That's gone. And I think that's why you're getting all of these cars that are so close in points, because it's a struggle to get on into the next round. If it continues going this way, I hate to say it, but it's like, do you drop them to an 8-car show? Because why just show up, run the race, set the field, and make it an 8-car show, and there's 5 good cars that get to go home every week.
And then we'll have the other classes at 16.
Well, yeah, they did it for a long time. I don't know if you remember Top Fuel back in the early 80s. It was a dying class until Gartlitz came back, made his comeback in 84 Indy. 16-car fields were not a norm in NHRA until 1986 and beyond. Pre-1986, there was still 8-car fields in all 3 classes, depending on the event that you went to. It was not uncommon. We obviously haven't seen that in a long time, but even, for example, referencing, upcoming, I'm sure we'll discuss it at the end of the show, Topeka going off the schedule. The very first Topeka race in 1989 had a 12-car funny car field. 12 funny cars showed up. It was still a 16-car field because it was just basically everybody showed up and ran. And I think that's where you're losing a lot of the competitive edge. I know there's a lot of sponsored teams out there and everything, but I think it's time to address shorter fields.
To say that we go 8-car fields, and now you got major brands and sponsors failing to qualify.
Correct, but you got the participation trophy countdown. So as long as you show up at DNQ, you still get to race for the championship. Qualifying don't matter. But then it was going to start matter for the last 6. So, but if you at the bottom of the field, you ain't a championship contender anyway. So why do we keep giving you extra? Why do you get 5 different chances to win a championship when you sucked from day 1? You know what I mean? So, that's just the way I look at it.
So we go 8-car fields. We run the season. We come down to Pomona, and let's just say Zizzo, Dakin, Trip Tatum, those cars show up. let's just say you get 16 cars show up for an 8-car field, and we'll just say Justin Austin's leading the points, and yet he qualifies 9th and doesn't make the field. I mean, it's like
that's a shame, but you know what? That's how it happened. That's how Shirley Muldowney, Don Garlitz, Gary Beck, those guys missed fields because you gotta qualify, and that's just the way that it is. I mean, and there were, don't get me wrong, not every single event. You know, the Winter Nationals, Indy had 16 cars, the finals had 16 cars, but you go to like Fremont, Brainerd, Denver, they were 8-car shows. And if 12 or even 18 of them showed up, well, 10 are going home. It's just the way that it was. And I don't know why it couldn't be that again. Just like if we're talking about various tracks lengths, we run an 1/8 mile, a quarter, and 1,000 foot. Let's run different fields sizes based on attendance. Your race is poorly attended. You don't need the show up and you're in fields. You know, not to go off on a rant, but basically the whole point of this was starting at the short fields to begin with. 12 competitive top fuel teams are going to be in the countdown, and the ladders are all screwed up because of it. So you got guys running guys that you shouldn't really run first round. That was basically where I came up with all this.
Well, I'm going to go with this, though. I'm going to go with this. Let's take it a step further, because, see, we putting it on these tracks and everything else, but you know what? The payouts aren't that great. How about the NHRA? How about the NHRA? Look at me. How about the NHRA step up and rethink its business model? Because there's a reason why that we don't have the people that are going out there, because it ain't worth them to go out there. It ain't worth for these small teams to go out there. Okay? So how about we rethink the business model and how we go about our business, how we go about the tracks we go to. Maybe we have to reduce the amount of races. I don't know what you got to do, but you got to rethink your business model, because the bottom line is I don't need to go 8-car fields if my business model is a little bit better and we can pay out a little bit better and make it worthwhile for some of these teams like a Buddy Hall and others to go up there to the Western Swing. You know how much money that costs for teams, for the trucks, for the fuel, for the parts? Okay, so all this 8-car field stuff ain't gonna be punishing the racers. The bottom line is the business model is trash, and they don't want to go up there to do that because they're losing money. How about we think about that? Because I'm sick and tired of the onus being put on the teams, yet the NHRA sits back and gets to be missed on all of this, when the bottom line is you are the sanctioning body. Do some work. Figure it out. It's a different time and era. This ain't 1960 whatever. We got a different way of things that businesses run, how we make money. It ain't the same. That's what I'm tired of. Fix that. Do some work. It ain't on the racers. The hell with that.
And that's what I'm going to say. They got to change the payout. I mean, there's a reason why the West Coast had those short fields. I mean, guys don't want to travel from Indy across or wherever. Most teams are based back east, and it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
But even like Epping didn't even have a full field. I mean,
because it's way out on the edge. It's way out on the edge of the north side.
He's a veteran. They saw the weather report.
I mean, Norwalk had 20, Bristol had 17, the full wide nationals had 18. I mean, even Vegas last year. This is what kills me. Remember Las Vegas? You always get to the end of the year and you're like, man, 25 nitro cars are going to show up. It's going to be tough. Vegas last fall had 15 dragsters. You know, the last full field that we had was Denver, and it was an even 16. But out of the 12 races this year, we've had, 5 short fields and 1, 2, 16 on the dot. So we've had 7 of 12 races show up and you're in.
That ain't how it should be.
No,
that ain't how it should be
and NHRA did, when they took away pro stock races, they took the pro stock money and they said, all right, we're going to give it to the 17th and 18th qualifiers. So my question is, when we got all these short fields and we don't have 17 and 18 qualifiers, where's that money going? Where's that payout money going?
You know where it's going. you know exactly where it's going.
And how many of
To the
these
people
guys
that
would
don't
rather
do
come
no
out?
work.
How many of these guys would rather come out? You know, would TJ Zizzo love to chase the championship, or does he want to go to 3 races a year and just win them and be like, whatever, do I need the championship? No, but that's a whole different discussion as far as what teams are trying to do, what the business model is, what to pay out. NHRA started as just a place to get drag racing off the streets, not a way to make money. So if you're in it trying to get rich, you're in it for the wrong game. You better bring a sponsor.
That's what Cruz was saying several years ago. It's about sponsor. You don't be winning. You don't pay your guys off of winnings. But my bottom line is at the end of the day, if you got to cut the amount of races for all classes to get more money for the payout, then that's what needs to be done. If you've got to adjust the schedule, and maybe we got to go to a rotating schedule where we don't go to every race like we used to, that you rotate tracks that you're going to do each and every year. Obviously, the staples will stay, but you rotate these other tracks. You got to find out another way to be able to get more cars to show up. And if you're not going to do that, then yes, you go to the Dave W way and you just go 8-car fields and do it that way. Because that's the lazy way of doing it. People who want to actually make things better for everyone else would actually do the work.
Reducing the schedule is just as lazy.
Yeah, but you know what? The schedule is reducing itself. These tracks are closing left and
Yeah.
right, so we ain't got to worry about that.
The car counts. The car counts are saying everything. So
I mean, I hate to say it, but when you go, it's like somebody commented in the comments, I don't want to go pay all this money and watch 26 nitro cars and 16 pro stocks and 14 bikes. That's why the NHRA, I think, brings in so many classes, because they would have so much downtime because there ain't nobody out there running stuff. Like, there's no reason that a nitro qualifying session should take more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes per class. They used to run first round on NHRA today within an hour, all the funny car and top fuel, and you get to see everything go down the track. Yeah. So in 2 hours, you're done with qualifying. Like, that's it.
I'm not against that either, Drag Racing Central. I'm not against that either.
So let's put because we kind of steered left. So let's put a cap on top fuel real quick. Shout out to Ron August real quick. Career best ETN speed in the first round. Also, Matt Hagan pretty much had a donut on the Western Swing last season. Leah Pruitt backs it up with a donut here on the Western Swing here this year. A couple of tough losses in Denver, Seattle, and Sonoma. Close races. Today lost on a whole shot. So like I said, let's put a cap on top fuel. Congratulations to Justin Ashley, 5th win of the year, 10th of his career. Since we're on this subject now, and Drag Racing Central mentioned this in the live chat, what is your guys' opinion now? Because there's a big announcement coming, I believe, this Wednesday. Steve Torrance, Bob Tasca, even Tony Stewart are having a big announcement this Wednesday. Apparently, there's a big nitro race that's going to go down. I'm hearing at Bradenton, Florida. What's your thoughts on that? Let's start with you, Dujane. Basically, the racers taking it into their own hands with a big-time money race like this.
More of this needs to happen. I think this is something that is going to help. I mean, why can't we do that with nitro? I mean, they doing it with everything else. Grudge racing. You know how much money people making just grudge racing, doing grudge race matches. All these. I mean, the amount of people that show up to these things. I'm like, I don't have a problem with this. I think if people see it profitable, they'll more likely, because again, you have to be a part of pro to be a part of this race. So you have to have that membership. Now, there also is a $10,000 buy-in. The bottom line is that you know what that buy-in's doing? It's helping make track improvements. Something that, I mean, why can't that be done on a level as far as the NHRA goes? Because we all know those nitro cars tear up the track and then they leave the track to foot the bill, and we wonder why we're losing tracks. I mean, come on, bro. But the money is going to be the deal here. And if this starts and it's successful, I think you see more of these type of races, because at the end of the day, money talks. I mean, it's cool or whatever, but we all know money talks. And if we get good racing on top of that, we have some competition here. And I like competition. And that's going to draw more people out. It'll draw more. I mean, look at Funny Car Chaos on how big that is. I mean, you could have guys that come off from that that may want to be a part and buy in and be a part of pro to be able to do these type of things and to do more of them around the country. So I think it's a great start. And I look forward to this being a growing thing, because at the end of the day, I want to see these guys make money as well. You know what I mean? It's fun and all, but I mean, we ain't out here to just be pissing money away and throwing it in the wind. I mean, if you want to do that, you can go get a barrel or a daggone fire pit. You can put your money in it and light it and burn it if that's what you want to do. And I know these guys don't, and that's not why they're in the business of racing. They want to win and they want to get money. So let's keep doing this and let's grow this.
And I figured this is going to be a big deal. When you got Tony Stewart's name attached to it, along with Steve Torrance, Bob Tasca, this is a pretty big deal. I'm just curious, do you think the John Force Racing show up and stuff like that? Do you think the Coletta Motorsports cars show up? I mean, is everybody all in from what you're hearing?
I think that they will. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a test within a race. So, you know, because they normally test there, but it will be a test race. And I do. Why not? I mean, if you're drawing people out there to see it, and there's big money on the line, I'll leave that for y'all to find out when they announce it. But there's big money on the line. What you think? I'm buying in, and I think those teams would buy in.
What's your thoughts on this whole deal, Dave?
I don't know enough about it really to have thoughts, I guess, until the announcement comes out. I don't really know how pro works. Dujane said it costs $10,000 to be a member of pro. Is that correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
I think it's 5.
5. Who's sponsoring the deal? What is quote unquote big money? They racing for $100,000, $250,000, $500,000. What are they coming to show up for?
I can't tell you that. I'll tell you off air.
Well, and that's what I'm waiting for the announcement for. Because I'm going to say you can't just throw money at. You got racers running the asylum. All right. Pro as a whole has done more to hurt the sport than help it. And I feel like this is history repeating itself. The racers were upset with the NHRA. If you remember back about 50 years ago now, they used to have the pro event at Tulsa, same weekend, same day as the United States Nationals in Indianapolis. Now, you want to make a statement? Do something like that. Don't just do this off-season test where we're just going to give each other our own cash with our $50,000 buy-ins, because you got Capco team with more money than God. You got Tony Stewart with more money than God. You got Alan Johnson, who's got more money than God because he sends all the stuff, sells all the stuff to the Nitro teams. I mean, you got rich guys passing, okay, $250 per Nitro class and $100 for pro stock. There you go. So
put that on all the races and see what the car counts out.
IHRA 1988, Billy Meyer threw money left and right at him and folded the next year. Sold it.
I think this is different, though. I think this is different, though.
Where's this money coming from? Who's funding it? And if it's just the guys passing around, to me, this is no different than the World Series of Poker. You got guys buying in, and they're just sharing each other's money. You ain't got Scott Palmer or these, maybe, TJ. Let's see Lex June show up and put $250,000 in his pocket. It ain't helping nobody but themselves. They're not helping the sport. They ain't helping nothing. They're passing around money amongst themselves going, okay, good. I want $250,000. Cool. So it's like, yeah, it's cool. It sounds flashy. It may be at PAX Bradenton Motorsports Park, which holds 20,000 people or so. It gives something people to do in February in Florida, but it's not going to affect anything. And I don't think it's going to put a blip on the radar. What you really need is a big corporate sponsor to sponsor NHRA like Winston did, have the all-star money race, have bonuses, top 10 bonuses, have the Noble Challenge where you get, stuff like that. That's what's going to make a difference. These guys going out and having a glorified test session, paying each other money to do it, ain't no different.
I hear you. Hey, before you go, Mike, I just want to shout out Ralph Betts. He says, jumping in here to say, hold on, let me slow down real quick. I just want to say, jumping in here, gotta say, young Darren is an absolute refreshing commentator with, I think, the best line of what's going down on the strip. He does it. He does have his stuff together. Love your new approach. I just want to say thank you, Ralph Betts. I appreciate this loving comment. Best comment of the show so far. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You can go, Mike. You can go. Thank you, Ralph.
What are we talking about? That
Top
pro
13
event?
cars and points, it says in there too. Okay, well, great. That's the same guys that run all season, so that don't help nobody. So I already know the top 13 that are coming. And
but it just started. I think if it goes well and they can put on another one, I think more people buy in.
It's not the
Why you gotta
winner's
buy in?
money. It's not the winner's money that matters. It's the round money that matters. See, only one car is going to get a big check at the end of the day.
Right.
And if you're looking for higher fields, bigger fields, you got to increase the purse from first round, second round. You know, this pro thing, yeah, it's nice. I'm interested in seeing what the payout is for the first 2 rounds. That's more my interest. Or is this just a winner take all? If it's just a winner take all, 250, you'll get some people going, but it's not going to attract a larger field because you got some guys who know they don't have a shot at a winner take all. Lex June doesn't have a shot at a winner take all. I mean, everyone has a chance to be put up on the starting line, but let's just be realistic for the most part, kind of. So if it's going to establish a higher payout in the first or second rounds, then yeah, I can see the formula actually working and hopefully NHRA adopting it. If it's not, and if it's just a winner take all 250, no, it's not going to work.
You don't see this expanding though? I mean, we're talking about this is a starter. It's a starter deal.
Well, if it's going to be a starter deal, you need to expand. You need to increase the payouts in the first 2 rounds because that's where it matters. That's what makes the smaller teams want to show up.
Right.
You know, because it was told to me that even if the smaller team wins the first round, after a certain point, they actually start losing money because of the amount it costs to run a car. You know, you make it to the semifinals as a smaller team, you don't always make a profit, depending on, you know, how much it costs to run these cars. So first 2 rounds need to be greater purse increase, most definitely. And if if they have that in this thing they're putting together, great. But if it's just a winner take all 250,
You know, I'm curious to see how it all plays out. You know, like Dujane said, it's something fresh, new. You know, I'm just want to see how it plays out, see how it goes the first year, and see if they can make improvements on it in the near future. Final thing I want to talk about, final topic of the show inside the NHRA. It was announced, unfortunately, that Heartland Motorsports Park is closing its doors after the final Heartland Nationals coming up in a couple of weeks. Dave, we talk about it all the time. We talked about it with Houston, Dallas, you know, Topeka, the boom of the super tracks in the late 80s. Tough to see this one kind of going away after this year.
it is. I was researching something real quick because I want to just put a cap on this whole pro deal.
Yeah, I got you.
$250,000 ain't nothing either. Today's money. You know, Winston gave out $100,000 no bull bonus at every event back in 1999, which is worth about $183,000 today. 200. You know what? You want to put some numbers on the board: $500,000 to win or $1 million. You know, the All-Star race in NASCAR was $1 million 20 years ago. I mean, this is still compared to inflation and costs of everything. It's not. I hope they have fun. I hope it's profitable and successful to people that do it. It is not going to move the needle on drag racing. And it is sad to see Heartland Park Topeka go off the schedule. You know, you think about like you say, the tracks expansion in the 80s, Houston, Memphis, both have been taken, you know, the Bulldozers have been taken to. Heartland Park's next on the list. Joliet currently has a bunch of Ford Explorers parked on the property and on the racetrack, which is better than Bulldozers. So I'm still hopeful that, you know, as long as they're able to make some money and get through the year and maybe get back out there and have another event. Don't know if they will or won't, but you know, there's too many super tracks and nice tracks with luxury amenities that are going away, and NHRA kind of, I don't know. They didn't really say anything about it, but they immediately dropped the press release about this new drag strip being built at I-70 Speedway, which is construction has started in May and is supposed to be done by October. So I can't imagine it's going to be a very nice facility by, you know, you might have a drag strip and concrete walls. You probably won't have a tower, grandstands, whatever. You know, I commented that on Facebook and somebody was like, well, they built Route 66 in a summer. No, they took over a year and a half to do Route 66. And they were finalizing it even as the first cars were going down the track. So I don't have high hopes for it being a nice, you know, super track. but I mean, I hope it is. Don't know, didn't see the plans, don't know what it's supposed to look like or the concepts, but you've got too many nice tracks with nice hospitality and amenities and suites and big timing towers and stuff that's going away, and you don't have those being built to replace it. Instead, we're looking at tracks that are already on the schedule that you're just looking at strips of asphalt with guardrails. I mean, they don't have the amenities and they don't have the infrastructure to hold events. So it's sad to see Heartland Park go. A lot of memories there. I will probably be starting sometime here soon, gathering up all the old videos and pictures and stuff, and just like I did for Denver, pull out some of the stuff from the archives, maybe some forgotten moments from Heartland Park, because it has played a big impact on the sport. A lot of momentous things. I mean, you got first into fours, first over 300 into funny cars there. Gary Ormsby's got a street named after him leading into the track because of the run that he made there. I mean, it was definitely one of the super tracks, and it's also remembered for some not so fun races back when they added the second event to replace Montreal, Canada, when they took them off the list, and it was the 100-degree nationals at that point. They did nighttime racing. They did a lot of cool stuff at Topeka. So sad to see it go.
First in the 450s.
First into 450s, yeah, 96. Force ran all runs into fours, 480s and eliminations that year, I believe.
I think Daryl Alderman owned that place the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Him and Mark Oswald both.
Yeah, Oswald doing well. The first double up happened there with Pat Austin and Alcohol Funny Car and Top Fuel in 91 when he ran to 4 in the final against Amato, his first 4. I mean, there's a lot of history at that track. So sad to see it go. And, it's one of those tracks that it's a shame that they announced it 2 weeks before the event or 3 weeks before the event. Like nobody, and the announcement was like, hey, go to Menards, get a buy one, get one free ticket. Let's pack the place. And it's like,
yeah, basically,
it seems like that's the only way you get a sellout crowd anymore is when you announce it's the last of something.
For sure. Your thoughts on it, Dujane?
It's disappointing. It's disappointing to see these tracks that hold so much history to just be gone. It really does suck. I mean, like you said, I mean, some of these places have great towers. They've just, everything about them is just awesome. And yet they're just going to be wiped away. It's crazy. But, like I said, at some point we have to look at the business model and have to look at how we can change to help better other things. And like I said before, folks like Virginia Motorsports Park walked away for a reason. They didn't want to have to foot the bill. So that's other things you have to worry about too. It's a different time and day and age we live in when it comes down to how money is being spent, the cost, all of these things. It ain't like it used to be. So we have to figure out something. But yeah, it sucks to see a historical track just be gone. And yes, I do know what the Farmer's Almanac is. I am that old.
I'll tell you what, like you mentioned, just, I don't know if a lot of people know this. I feel like I have to go there. I mean, it's like you said, they mentioned this thing 2 weeks before it happens. And I actually have family roots in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, actually. So it's like, that's one of the tracks I've always wanted to go to. Dave knows I love cool towers, and Topeka has one of those cool towers that I want to see in person. And just, things that come to mind is, Pat Dakin's blowover there in 98. I mean, one of the craziest blowovers I've ever seen. Obviously, I was so young, I didn't watch the race, just watching back on YouTube and everything like that. They raced there till 2 a.m. in the morning, freaking final rounds at 2 a.m. When do you ever see nitro cars run at 2 a.m.? I mean, Gary Ormsby's 488, back in the 1990, Forrest and Cruz going at it in the final round in 96, that great final round under the lights. There's so much history. Scott Coletta dominated there. I mean, just so much history.
I know one of your favorite final rounds in 1992.
Oh,
he had him. He was ahead.
Dude, he was ahead. He was ahead.
He was ahead.
That is so much better than the Dallas final. So much better. So much better than the Dallas final. He was
Thing
ahead.
was on fire. Still ran a 5:34. Ran a 5:34 on that run. It was on fire. How do I know that? I don't know, but I just know it. He ran a 5:34 on that run, on fire.
Like just so many great moments. And it's sad to see that place go. And man, it's just real tough. But yeah, Mike, just your thoughts on Heartland Motorsports Park going away.
The unfortunate part about this situation, it's not their development around the track and a noise issue. This is something to do with taxes or something to that degree. And to that degree, I'm not sure. I don't know all the specifics, but it isn't one of those deals where it was a track that, growth that came around. There's new development in the area, i.e. Denver or whatnot. This is kind of a different ball game, which kind of makes it even worse. It's like, really? We can't, and I talked to the NHRA president over the weekend, and, some of these track closures outside of Atlanta, it's not NHRA's fault. They didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I know we got to change the marketing and the brand and how we go about things, but Englishtown wasn't their fault. I mean, it is what it is. Houston wasn't their fault. Phoenix isn't their fault. It's just you just said times have changed. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh no, I was just thumbs up in the comment there.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I ain't even gonna say nothing, but yes.
Yeah,
they got great burgers out here.
Yeah.
A lot of meat.
So, baby dolls, huh? Yeah, but yeah. Speaking my language, but yeah, a lot of this isn't NHRA's fault. It's just unfortunate circumstances. And in talking with, Glenn over the weekend, they would like to get back next season to what he said, 22 races is what he's hoping for. Somewhere around 21 to 22 races next season is what he's hoping for. Still in the works, but no, it sucks that Heartland Park's leaving. I mean, I remember Steve Evans, when he mentioned that place and they showed it from a bird's eye view, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the Pentagon. This is the future of NHRA. And I mean, that's what it was. I mean, you seen this place and it was like, wow. And 30 years later, it's gone, whatever the case may be. It's like, wow, okay. A lot of great moments there. You guys have named a lot of them. Just another track. I mean, and at this point, I won't be surprised if we lose another one next year. I hope it doesn't. We knock on something, but I mean, they're just dropping like flies right now, and it's like, why? What's going on? Kind of
the tax thing has been going on for a while with this one, though, so it wasn't as unexpected. It was as expected as soon as it happened. But I remember that the tax article rumors and stuff have come out even as early as last fall and the beginning of this year. So, and basically they were just, like they said, we bought it at a certain price, knowing that we were going to pay this money, and then the county decided or the state decided, you know what, that property, maybe it's a little bit worth more than we thought it was. Now your tax bill just quadrupled, and they're like, you can't sustain being here,
Yeah.
So, question: there's 22 races here this year, correct? So there's 22 races here in 2023. Is it 21 or 22? You guys know? Let's say 22. Let's say 22. We've lost Denver, we've lost Phoenix, and we've lost Topeka. So that'll push us down to 19. And like Glenn Cromwell says, he wants to get back to 22 next year. Do we add second stops to some places now? I mean, because I don't see any other tracks we can add.
Well, I-70's being built. That's supposed to be on the
that's
next
20.
So now we're back up to that. Brian Loans has hinted that Columbus might come back. So 21. There's that.
Okay.
Why couldn't they go to Rockingham? You seen that place you seen the revitalization they've done with that place? Rockingham is amazing.
Yeah. Well, they got a lot of money to do that. The state of North Carolina gave Rockingham the oval track and drag strip, obviously, as well as North Wilkesboro funds to redo those places. And that was a case of the state stepping in to help as opposed to running them away.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But great conversation here.
I don't know if Columbus is a good idea. There's a reason we left there. There's no shutdown area. There's no
we're going
shutdown
shorter now. We ain't going 1320 no more.
We going through 1,000.
Yeah, I was just there. I mean, that house is still there across the road. I mean,
Yeah.
the one that Gary Phillips ended up in front of. I mean, it's still there. I was just there a month ago. It's just like, I don't.
It's still a nice place. The tower is held up.
No,
I raced there a couple years ago.
Nice.
It's they've done a lot to keep it going, and when you look at tracks that you could put back on the schedule, I would look at Columbus, and if you can get back to Virginia Motorsports Park, because they're about the only ones that have the nice towers and amenities that, you can't. And NHRA is in a tough place right now because they already know Camping World's not coming back. So you got to start wooing new sponsors, and you can't take them to some field track out in the middle of nowhere with nothing to be like, hey, come sponsor our series. And they're like, what's this?
And wooing sponsors that are going to do something, not just be a name. Because I don't want to hear the excuses. Like I've said it 100 times. Camping World was doing all the right things trying to court the NHRA. Boy, they were doing all they could. Like that guy that just finds the girl that he wants to be with and then get married and then becomes an estranged husband. I mean, the only time we've seen them tweet about NHRA was this Taylor Swift stuff, and they were piggybacking off of what somebody else did. Come on, man.
Oh, my comments on that one.
Well, I gotta say, great conversation here on Inside the NHRA. Let's get back now to the national event. Dave, we do this on every show, usually in the middle of the show, but we're going to wait to the end now. Sportsman winners, our Lucas Oil Sportsman winners from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. Break it down for us.
Yes, we do. We got Justin Lamb, 31st career win in Super Stock. Leo Glassbrenner picks up the 11th win of his career when Bo Butner red lit in the stock final. Super Comp went to Parker Theobald, 3rd career win. Dennis Paz, I can't remember. Sorry about that, Dennis. Was in 2 finals. Finally got his first career win in the Super Gas class. Lost to Kenny Snow in Super Street, who ended up getting his first career win. You had Ted Kellner picking up his 4th career win. And then also in Top Dragster, Don London picked up his first win in his first final in Top Dragster.
Congratulations to all of our Lucas Oil Sportsman winners from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals, and shout out to our buddy James Qualls. You may see him in the live chat as Red Racer 1985 for pulling up this great graphic for us for Inside the NHRA. And I tell you what, Dave, yes, we do not want a sled situation like we had last year with pronouncing somebody's last name wrong. So
correct.
Thank you for saying sorry. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which one it was. I remember hearing it, but then I forgot. So
yeah.
So trivia time. Darren, you asked your question first. Did anybody get your 9 drivers?
No, nobody got the 9 drivers. So we'll just say it off right here. Gage Herrera joins a list of great company to sweep the Western Swing, starting off with Joe Amato, 1991, followed up by John Force, 1994, Corey Mack in the McDonald's Top Fuel Dragster, 1997, my man Larry Dixon, Miller Lite, 2003, Greg Anderson, 2004, Tony Schumacher in that dominating season, he did it in 2008, and the last guy to do it before Gage Herrera was Antron Brown, 2009. That is just pro drivers, but if you want to add Dan Fletcher, he did it in 1994 and 2013, stock and super stock. Gage Herrera joins that list of great drivers to sweep the Western Swing. And I'm ready for this one right here, Dave. Let's get it to us, man.
Just to expound on yours, when Dan Fletcher swept it in 2013. So he did it in 94 in super stock and in 2013, and he did it in stock. So he did it in 2 different categories. And in 2013, they were switched as far as how they did the Western Swing. It went Denver, Sonoma, Seattle. Seattle actually rounded out the swing at that time, so that's when he swept it. It was there. It was also his 85th career win when he won Super Stock at that event and became the 17th driver to double up as well. He won 2 races or 2 categories at that 2013 Northwest Nationals.
Well, how cool is
Dave,
this?
What was your trivia question, Dave?
My question was, when Chad Green got to the Funny Car Final, he is the 3rd NHRA Pro Mod event winner to race in an NHRA Funny Car Final. Who were the other 2 drivers?
I'm going to say M&M. And I'm just guessing.
Yep.
Okay. He knows what I'm talking about then when I say M&M.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right.
The birthday boy himself.
I knew you'd get it.
Huh?
The birthday boy, Mike Ashley, was one of them, and Melanie Troxel was the other.
Yep. I won't run up the top of the head with that. That's the only time I'm like, it's got to be M&M. I just want
You should add the other one, the Top Fuel one.
Yeah, okay, so how about Top Fuel? How many Pro Mod winners have won in Top Fuel? NHRA only, again, because we know Scotty Cannon and IHRA's run Top Fuel and, stuff like that. So that's why you got to be very specific with the NHRA stuff.
Top Fuel?
Mm-hmm. Won an NHRA Top Fuel and Pro Mod event. You already got one of them.
We got one. It's going to take me a minute to get this one. I can't get this one off the top of my head that quick.
XI, In-N-Out Burger, Skull Shine. I'm trying to give you some hints. Skull Shine.
I see one in the chat right now. Actually, I think I see two in the chat right now.
Khaled Al-Belushi?
Khaled has won NHRA Pro Mod and Top Fuel. Yes, he has. Melanie
right.
Troxel has won Pro Mod and Top Fuel.
Mm-hmm.
One driver lost first round in Top Fuel today.
Mike Salinas?
On a whole shot.
No.
I know he's ran Pro Mod, so I just threw it out there.
Yeah, but I'm talking about winners only. One in both.
Yeah,
classes.
I got you.
Win a donut on the Western Swing. Donut. No round wins on the Western Swing.
Leah.
Donut. Yeah.
Leah.
And the last one's daughter is tearing it up in Top Alcohol Dragster.
Hartman? No. Oh, no. My head hurts.
Arch rivals with Mike Dunn.
Jolly Rancher. Western Auto.
Hartman, right? Hartman. Was it Rhonda Hartman? No.
No.
That was Shelly Anderson.
Shelly Anderson.
Yeah, Shelly Anderson.
She has won a Pro Mod race and a Top Fuel race in NHRA, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Arch rivals with Mike Dunn. That's funny.
So there you go.
There you go. Man, that's badass.
There have been,
man.
yes, to the
Badass.
people that have commented, there have been many more that have competed in both. Mike Salinas has competed in both. If you want to go back far enough, Matt Hagan has competed in both. He actually started in Pro Mod before switching over to Funny Car. There's quite a bit. And then when you start going to other classes, you got Jonathan Gray, Troy Coughlin Sr., Troy Coughlin Jr. A lot of guys have been in a lot. Jonathan Gray, I think I said him. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Ricky Smith, you can add himself. He hasn't competed in an event, but he drove a Top Fuel dragster last weekend, I believe it was, over at Virginia. How about that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Ricky.
Alex Laughlin? Maybe.
Alex Laughlin has competed in Pro Mod and in Nitro. Erica Enders has competed in Pro Mod and Pro Stock. I mean, there's a lot of drivers that you wouldn't think, that have been in there. Scotty Cannon, not necessarily on the NHRA side. I don't think he ran any NHRA races in Pro Mod, just on the IHRA side. But yes, obviously he was in Funny Car. So yeah, a lot of multi-class drivers there. But anyway, that was my trivia question for the day.
Yeah, it was good.
Nah, that was badass, man. I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the NHRA. Darren Williams Jr. along with my buddies Dave W., Dujanay Bland, and Mike Dennis. Another great show. And I'll tell you what, Dave, I mean, hey, 2 more races to the countdown to the championship or at the end of the regular season. And, man, we got here fast, didn't we?
Yeah, doesn't seem like it. But, after 3 in a row, I'm sure all of the drivers and teams are happy to have a couple off before they go to Topeka.
Yeah.
And it's now, like I said, we talked about the motorcycles only coming back just for Indy. Now the spotlight's going to turn back onto Pro Stock because they're going to be back on the stage here running Topeka, Brainerd, and Indy to round out their countdown or round out their regular season before the countdown. So it'd be cool to have them back. I did not recall Scotty Cannon in that when I was compiling my results. I'll have to double check that. I don't have all the round records just yet, Bobby, but I know Scotty Cannon Jr. did. As a matter of fact, he made a couple final rounds back in that time frame too. But I didn't know that Scotty Cannon Sr. did. I have to do a little more research and digging.
For sure. And first off, I got to say thank you guys all for tuning into this special edition of Inside the NHRA. Love the engagement and the interaction in the live chat from all you fans. Really do appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to one guy in particular. He actually just talked because usually on West Coast races, we start at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern time, just because the quick turnaround. Well, we were on the air literally an hour after the last Nitro car went down the racetrack, an hour and 15 minutes after the last Nitro car went down the racetrack. And that is thanks in part to Dave W. and all the hard work he does for this show, the clips that he uploads and stuff like that. So I want to give a big shout out to Dave W. for helping me get this show off the ground. And so thank you, man. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah,
can do
no
it out,
problem.
man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Mike Dennis, before we get out of here, man?
Tired. Western Swing's over. It was a great weekend. I mean, we'll see. We'll just see where Topeka brings us. We got a couple weeks, like you said. Teams got a little bit of downtime. Everyone's going to regroup, and Topeka should be interesting. Should be very interesting because that's kind of your last. I mean, that and I think Brainerd to get ready for the countdown. So it's a great weekend. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Horrible Friday night session, but yeah, it was good.
Hey, Dave knows this. I thought we were going to see the quickest runs of the season this weekend. I was like, I'm saying 666 in Pro Stop Motorcycle. I'm saying 383 in Funny Car. I'm saying 366 in Top Fuel.
That was the worst Funny Car session I've ever witnessed in my life.
I didn't want to call you out on that, but yeah,
Friday
I know
night.
you. But I will say that that is one of the more hyped sessions. Is the Friday night session when the temps go down at Sonoma.
Yeah.
Don't know if that top dragster transmission explosion destroying the right lane had anything to do with it or not, but it didn't seem like most people were getting down to left lane either. I think they just missed.
Worst session ever.
I don't know. Did you see Phoenix this year? Did you see somebody else? I mean, we've been saying that a lot after a lot of these races this year, unfortunately.
I think it was just a built-up height around that session. I mean, cool temperatures, sea level track, guys chomping at the bits, and then just.
Any final thoughts, Dujanay?
This is where the rubber meets the road here in the fourth quarter, a short fourth quarter. So, just like any team, you don't want to be backpedaling into the countdown. So it's really just all about seeing which team is going or teams are going to get a little bit more consistent. That starts in qualifying and goes and transfers into race day. They've got a couple races to do that. They can, they got this time to regroup and kind of get rested again after this grueling Western swing. And we'll see what happens because that is going to be telling of what we're going to see as far as the countdown goes. Who's going to start to develop that level of consistency that's going to carry not just on race day, but from qualifying through race day and carry that into the countdown. We've seen a lot of people backpedal into the countdown, and we know what happens when you backpedal into the countdown. You fall flat on your face. So with so many cars being close together, it's going to be interesting, especially in both of the fuel classes, to see who starts to develop that and carries that momentum into that countdown. Looking forward to it.
For sure. Dave, any final thoughts, man? I know you kind of just talked, but any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Do you really need the momentum into the countdown, though?
True, because it's everybody gets in, participation trophy stuff. So whatever.
I think the way that I look at it, yeah, you could use the momentum. It makes it good. But if you're the guy that says, I'm saving my best stuff for the countdown, and you lay an egg in Reading, all right. Now, if you're like, you know what, it's okay, let's just get there. That's going to be the tell-all right there, I think, is when we get to that show. But, there are a couple races that are upcoming are pretty important. Obviously, now that Topeka is going to be the last one, I'm sure it's special for a lot of guys. They want to win that one. And Indy's Indy. And Brainerd, like somebody had said in the comments, you could see some throwdown runs at Brainerd if the air is there. There will not be a Friday night session per se. I think the last session starts at 6:30, but it doesn't get dark till around 8 or so. Because if I'm not mistaken, Brainerd does not have lights, which is why they've not had nighttime sessions there, and they've had to postpone anything that was rain delayed out of that track. But it's I'm glad for the couple weeks off, but I'm sure after that I'll be ready for them in Topeka and see what we can. I just pray for nice cool weather, because that place can really light up the scoreboards. No tornadoes though, no big storms, no we ain't in Kansas anymore. Toto stuff, because that's happened there too.
Yeah.
Mr. P.R. Flyer says BIR got a noise ordinance for the locals, sorta, kind of like Pomona. So
that too. Okay, that makes sense. But I don't think that they have lights because it's part of the road course. I don't think they ever took time to actually light the drag strip part of it. From what I remember there, some of the finals we've seen there back in like 2015 and whatnot, when it got rain delayed, or 14, they were pretty much in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Pomona too, like way back in the 80s and 90s when they'd end at night or right at.
For sure.
Locals should be a noise ordinance for the zoo. You guys anybody been to Brainerd?
No,
I've heard about it.
I've been to Brainerd. What locals? There's nothing out there. The zoo makes more noise than the cars.
I bet.
The locals.
Hey,
every day.
It's 10:30 out there for the people on the East Coast, so let's kind of wrap this up. But thank you guys all for tuning into this special edition of Inside the NHRA Sonoma edition, breaking down and going in depth of all the highlights from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. Like I said, thank you guys all for tuning in. Really do appreciate all the support. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks in Topeka. Good night, everybody.